legislature legalized unverifiable voting in 2000.
Like you said to Trump, but they're getting beauty.
He said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia areas that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign.
All of us coming back. I cannot accept this fade to black, and the thought of the wasted dreams of a nation down on its knees. Is it already over? Tickets to the circus show. If you don't, then you'll never know. Take a stand while you have the time. Drown your fear and keep hope alive. Be the change that you want to see. Be the wrench inside the machine. Is it already over? Is it already over? It's over.
Hey everybody, welcome to Wednesday night, Small Town Underground. Regular show Wednesday. We are starting a little bit early, 8 o'clock, actually 8:16 on April the 22nd, 2026. And I'm in the process of sharing out the show and putting it in groups. So if you're just joining us, please help us share this with like-minded people. Share it into groups of like-minded citizens, because we've got a doozy tonight. So as promised, and I have 2 interviews that are knocked out today for the Meet the Candidate series. I have another one tomorrow, so we'll be uploading those to you respectively within the next 24 hours. But wanted to clear the airwaves tonight because I have a very special guest with me. He's been on the show several times. He has a YouTube channel called XXL Dude on YouTube. He's got a Substack now that's fixing to get hot. And one of my oldest friends in this movement, Tyler Martin, is here with me. And I think I've told you guys so many times that he was one of the original 2A groups that started up here, actually the first. And we've kind of followed in his footsteps and worked for years tirelessly trying to make sure that our local areas were secured from the tyranny of Second Amendment oppression, only to be knocked completely out by COVID. And the entire groups kind of went off the radar, and then we started getting shadow banned, and we started getting all kinds of community strikes, and then it led us into this political clown show that we now are in. And Tyler decided to branch off and do what he always wanted to do, which was an awesome freaking channel with all kinds of cool guns and gadgets and things. And he does an amazing job. I watch all of his videos that come out, and I have a blast. So anytime that Tyler calls and says, hey, we need to talk, he's got an open invitation to the show. So I hope you'll join us tonight, and buckle up, because I think this is going to be a good one. How are you, Tyler?
I'm good, man. So that was you singing in the intro, right?
Yes, sir.
Man, that's awesome.
Well, thank you.
You produced that and everything?
Yeah.
Man,
In my garage.
man, that's awesome. Hopefully you still do that a pretty good bit.
Well, I've played music all my life, but I had these lyrics wrote, and I was just piddling around one night, and I never, when I first started, used to use, I can't even think of the app, but it was just an audio app,
Yeah.
And so I decided, man, I need to jot this down and record it. And little did I know, I just kept adding tracks, and it sounded pretty good, and I was just like, so I just put it all together and just did it like that,
That's awesome, man.
So
with what's out there now, you definitely should like upload some of it to YouTube, maybe start you a side channel and just kind of put it out there. It doesn't have to be you, it can be anonymous or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like 4 albums of like solo stuff I've done over the years, and I've never really released any of that.
You should though. I mean, you can always make it private to where only you and who you share it to until you feel like you might be ready to put it out there.
I've thought about it. Maybe one of these days when I have the time, right? Because maybe. I use a lot of my own music now. Anyway, it's not for vanity, but it's like everything you use, you get copyright
Yes.
for. I've had copyright strikes where I'm using like CapCut, and I'm using the music that's provided.
Yes.
And I have to go through and say, hey, this came with the app, and I'm paying for it. And then guess what? They take the strike off.
I literally.
It's ridiculous.
So with the YouTube channel, I literally went through that. I have bought music, like got the license. The license pretty much says it's yours. You do whatever you want to do with it.
Right.
I no longer have any control over it. So I bought it. I mainly bought it just to use because I had similar videos hit. And on YouTube, when you're monetized, they take your money away. They start the person who owns the song, even though the video has nothing to do with the song, they get your money.
Yep.
And so I had to figure out a way around it, and I bought that. Well, lo and behold, somebody else copyrighted that song, and it took me about a month to get it taken down and stopped from blocking several of my videos. And I'm like, this is complete and utter BS. Like,
yes, it is. It's hard. I mean, I don't know how. So you're doing all kinds of different content, right? And it looks amazing. And you've got your channel. Your channel is doing good. It's really good. But like I'm over here just like a little bum, just doing what I can do. I can't imagine like the money that I've had to put into the show to get it out there. It's like you have to have a budget, but I can't imagine paying for all these royalties and stuff like that.
No.
So
that's like what I paid. I think I paid $120 for a song, but I'm like, I need something because there's free music out there, like you were saying, but it gets copyrighted, and all of a sudden, like, for me, I'm blessed that I've grown my YouTube enough to where it doesn't pay for it, but I get a little bit of a rebate on what I spend on gear, and it tends to be my hobby.
Yeah.
So I get a little bit of a rebate, but when this happens, I had to figure something out because, bam, now they're hitting me in my wallet with it, and it's not good optics either to YouTube when you're trying to be legit.
I do agree with that. Yeah. So it's kind of wild. I don't pay attention to metrics. I don't do a lot of that stuff. I figure that I'll know whenever the channel just needs to go kaput. But other than that, I'm very happy it's growing. But I'm happy where I'm at.
Pick a platform, stick to it.
I'm happy where I'm at.
Facebook aggravates me because it gets so hard to find when people are live now. It's like they hide it, and I kind of get why, because when all the rioting and everything else was going on, you could see all this stuff, and it's like they've kind of just shifted away from live. So, but you've got the live thing down pat.
Yeah.
If you had to jump to another platform, it's not going to be new to you because you have all of this.
It's true. I wish X was a little better. X kind of craps out more than anything, but it's there and it's there for people. But Facebook really is, and a lot of people are like, well, you should go to YouTube. Well, I've been so shadow banned on YouTube, it can't move.
Lives don't do too well there.
No,
they really don't. They call it channel killers. That's kind of why, like, it takes so much to produce a video like what I'm doing on there. It costs a lot of money because I upgrade my equipment along the way, like you have here. Every time I come in here, man, you got new gizmos and gadgets.
Yeah, this is the new camera, and it looks amazing.
Yes,
it was worth the money.
Yes.
But yeah.
And that's the thing, like, you got to keep upgrading your equipment and stay with the times because people will start getting like, man, it's like you're filming with a potato.
Yeah.
And so, like, you have to kind of just stay up with it and kind of get amped up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so we are up and running, and so what I want to know what's on your mind tonight.
Man, I've been taking breaks from Facebook because it's hard, like I think everybody's frustrated. And I was talking about your music thing because I'm like, and I'm going to encourage anybody to, like, if you need to take a break from this, take a break from the political world just because of everything going on, like, find something that doesn't involve with it. And luckily my hobby can and cannot, like, it's kind of intertwined with it, but I can kind of get in the trenches and focus on it and not look at what's going on in the political world. But you know me. Go ahead. Let
me just give some people a background why Tyler and myself are. I'm an OG. We've been listening to InfoWars. We've been in this whole conspiracy rabbit hole stuff for years. My whole entire adult life. We were there from the very inception of Donald Trump, and a lot of people were, but a lot of people also didn't get into Donald Trump until 2020. We're all new to politics, but I always tell people I felt like I took a step back because we already knew that the political system was rigged, right?
Yes.
So you and I have had this conversation so many times. You're like, dude, and I'm like, yes, you're right. I do know that. But it never ceases to amaze me that we're here. And I know that there are some people that just don't get it, right? But I think that, I want people to know that, I vouch for you ever since we've known each other for years. Like we've been through all this before.
I am as conservative as they come.
Yeah.
In the past few months, I have been called a liberal, and I'm sitting here like, you clearly do not know who I am.
Yeah,
you clearly don't. And I've been told, like, this is a little spoiler of the topic. I hope you guys can stay with me because I'm going to prove a point. I'm going to prove a case here. But I've been called pro-Iran, and I'm like, I'm not. I could give a crap less about them. Like. It goes back into this, and the problem is, and it's what I'm going to talk about here, I have notes, that a lot of the boomers and a lot of the Gen Xers, especially like the elder to mid Gen Xers, they don't understand, like, millennials. If you've noticed, a lot of younger people, I don't even know how old you are.
I'm 46.
You're 46. So you're kind of in that end of Gen X, beginning of millennials. So you're in that transitional period.
Yep.
But you have to notice that a lot of younger than you people, not necessarily 20-somethings, but a lot of the 30 to early 40 people seem to just be more awake now.
Yeah.
Like more so than the people that are older.
Right.
Well, it's us millennials, like with all of this stuff that has happened in our lifetime, like we're awake to the lies that we were sold as children. These boomers and a lot of these older Gen X's aren't.
Yeah.
They blindly follow the TV. They blindly follow the newspapers. They blindly follow the radio. They're not like us where we have multiple media outlets. It's like if it wasn't for the internet, dude, you never would have heard of InfoWars.
No.
Never.
Ever.
And so now, you have Megyn Kelly. She's on satellite radio now, has her own channel on there. And you have Tucker, who has his own website now. I think he does. Does he still post on X? I'm not on X a lot because it's clunky.
Yeah, I know he's on there, but I mean his YouTube channel is he's got it lit.
And that seems to be where everybody's gravitating toward. And I'm kind of happy that YouTube, they're. I have a YouTube rep, and I've only spoke to them a few times with issues, but. They talk about how everybody says YouTube's politicized, and it's like, no, it's really like whoever's advertising on there kind of gets a more say-so of what they allow on the platform. So I'm kind of glad that they're starting to allow, Rogan's on there, Kelly's on there, Megyn Kelly's on there, and Tucker, several
it's scary.
Others.
They've eased up. Yeah. When we started, remember, we were getting community strikes left and right. Like you said one word and you were shut down, and now it's kind of like, I hesitate sometimes to say something, but I also think that it's temporary. But
I had 2 accounts banned in 2020.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, over the whole breaking down the whole Rittenhouse thing. You know, I was actually growing a pretty good bit on there, just breaking down like, hey, this is self-defense because you see what happened here, here, and here.
Yep.
You know, just breaking it down, and they banned me over that. Like, no warnings, no strikes, nothing. Gone.
Exactly. That happened to me on TikTok, and I never picked it back up.
And I was can't.
Like,
TikTok is one of that's something I was talking to my wife about earlier the other week. I said it's freaking scary to me that everybody's getting their news from TikTok, which is a Chinese propaganda platform. I don't care what anybody says. It's Chinese owned, it's Chinese operated, and it's going to be used to sow disinformation. You know.
Well, to me, and that's definitely something to be worried about, right? But I am constantly worried about the sort of attention span that you lose whenever you've got that much different information so compact, but yet it's just in a span of a few seconds or 15, and that rewires our brain.
Yes.
You know, and I've got good friends that are wonderful on TikTok, and there's some wonderful information on TikTok, but the technology behind it, these are being gamed in like experiments in laboratories. Like, how can we suck these people in?
Yeah. Well, you're the product. If you're not having to pay for it to use it,
that's right.
Then you're the product. All your attention, your data that you're openly allowing them. You know, like it's been talked about now. Like if we talk about a '96 Jeep Cherokee or something like that, you know, you're going to pull up your Google or whatever, and it's going to be there. You're going to get advertisements for the new Jeep Cherokee. Because they're already listening, because you click that agreement to allow them into your microphone, into your camera, and see what your keystrokes are.
That's right.
And I don't want to dive off deep in that, because that could be a whole other episode.
Absolutely.
But even with my YouTube, how it's rewiring people, like I'll produce videos that are 20, 30 minutes long because I like to be thorough. Well, you know, my average viewership, like on the best videos, like the average of time viewed is like 8 minutes. And so it's
I don't know how that works. I've seen that before, but I don't know how it works. But
I get people that'll come back and finish it.
Yeah.
So, but the one thing I notice is that, like, if I shorten my videos, which YouTube hits you hard if you do under 10 minutes because they want to get that ad revenue. That's what it is. They're not a video company. They are a selling advertisement company. That's how they operate. And so the shorter the video, it seemed like more and more people finished it, and it's because of TikTok. You know, because of these short bites where people are only going to give you so much of their time to watch it, and it's like they expect all of this information to be compacted down, and that's the trick, man. It's hard for me.
Yeah. Well, you see now how you open YouTube, and it's got shorts already there. So obviously they're copying that model, right?
Yeah.
TikTok kind of made the model, or whatever it used to be called, the dance app. But now it's like everybody is gearing towards that Reels and this, you know. So what do you think when everybody's taking that technology moving forward with it?
We hated it. Like, so I'm in a group with several like well-known YouTubers. I'm not going to name drop and blast and act like I'm somebody, because I'm nobody. But I'm in there with a lot of people, and we get aggravated because every time they push these shorts a little more, which are like TikToks if you're not on YouTube, I'm sure everybody is. So when they push these, it hurts us long-form creators that put a lot more heart and soul into just doing a goofy video. Like an AI generated video. Like, we put a lot of time, research. I put a lot of ammunition down range, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears if I'm talking about a piece of gear that I'm going out and hiking around the mountains with, to tell you, like, hey, this will hold up, or no, it won't hold up.
Right.
You know, and it just sucks for people like that. And there's been a massive viewership drop. You know, YouTube actually changed, you know, the way it monetizes for less views. Like, it'll pay you a little more for less views now, because they pretty much admitted that they changed it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very strange.
So, let's jump into this, man.
Let's dig into Tyler.
I want you to kind of be a little devil's advocate here with some of the stuff. I'll ask you to Google it, or if you're set up for Chat GPT, you can do it too. And a cool thing with Chat GPT, you can prompt it. You can ask it to provide sources to where it's drawing its information to make sure it's actually factual and not something that it makes up. That's what people have to understand with AI, is like, it's all in the way you prompt.
Yes.
So I was touching base a little bit on how the Gen Xers, the boomers, you know, they were all lied to, especially anybody that was born in that period, post World War II, and then pretty much into the 80s. A lot of people don't understand that who this person, Robert Maxwell, is. You know, I don't think it's talked about enough. I really don't. Like, I see some conspiracy sites talk about it, and I'm like, well, how much weight does that hold if we're if we're talking conspiracies, well, his last name's Maxwell, and so yes, he's the father of,
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes.
The same man who was in charge of our school books growing up.
Exactly, yes. So Pergamon Press.
Mm-hmm.
And me, I dove into it more because I heard about that, and I'm like, that's insane because, he ended up buying McGraw-Hill, which was like everybody's textbook
All of our textbooks
up.
growing up.
I have some at home.
Yeah, I got you. What a revelation.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. A lot of people that don't know are probably out there asking, so what? Like, what does this have to do? Well, he had heavy ties to Mossad, to Israeli Mossad. Mm-hmm. He was a British media tycoon,
That's correct.
And he had open, you can research it, close relationships with, Israeli officials and intelligent linked figures. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tie a pathway here with him and that to somebody in the current, in the current times, the current relevancy of everything going on.
Gotcha. Okay.
But he had all of these close relationships, and he pretty much bought up the media. He had Maxwell Communications Corporation. Mm-hmm. And basically he had a full media power, so he controlled more than just your textbooks. Like, they ran a scheme basically on colleges and schools where they basically had to subscribe and buy these textbooks.
That's correct.
They couldn't get other ones.
What is the saying? He who the victor always history is written by the victor. Yeah. So isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing to be sitting here in 2026 and know what we've known about the Epstein list, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, and all of this stuff ties back to the fact that this man, with his connections to government spooks, actually owned the companies that publish school books.
Yeah,
and the media. Let that sink in, people.
The media and the news you were watching.
Yes,
just like nowadays, Vanguard and BlackRock on them all, and it's funny. It's like, who's the CEO of BlackRock?
Larry Fink.
What's his religion again?
Yeah, I think he thinks he's the Antichrist. Evidently, I don't know.
He's a Zionist.
He's
right?
a Zionist,
and I'm
sure.
not an anti-Zionist guy. Like,
right.
That's not who I am.
No, this is a grown-up discussion, folks.
But I'm trying to paint a picture for everybody that wants to talk about America's greatest ally.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
that's what we're going to dip off into. Maxwell's empire pretty much collapsed overnight after he died. He died in 1991, just mysteriously, disappeared from his yacht. Mm-hmm. Very odd stuff.
Yeah.
And then they found that I've got some notes here to keep me on track, but they found that there was all of this fraud going on with the company, and basically he was using stolen money, to do this whole op that he ran for. How long was it? I don't even know if I put the dates in here. But, I mean, that was a thing that ran from, like, the 1950s all the way into the 90s. Mm-hmm. All of these books under control, right. With a guy that has ties to Israeli Mossad. And so touching back on, everything, like, that's all the textbooks that everybody that's up there calling me, the names. I don't even want to say it on here, right. Because I'm not. But saying these names and saying like, oh, well, you're not loyal to the Bible, and the Bible says this and everything else, and I'm just sitting here. I'm like, there's only one country that I pledge allegiance to.
That's correct.
There's only one country on this earth that I will bleed and die for. Mm-hmm. There is no other. I don't care what you think a nation that was cooked up post World War II, that was given to people post World War II, by shady means. The more I looked into it, because when the whole October 7th thing happened, it elicited a big emotion from me, and I was mad about it, and it's horrible. I watched the footage. Mm-hmm. All of that was horrible, but then when you dig into more of how it's founded, you're like, man, a lot of this stuff is just a straight up lie. Mm-hmm. And I don't like blind allegiance like that we have legislators that are wanting to pass legislation where you can't even criticize a country.
That's a huge red flag.
Okay, what if the UK, people that have dual citizenship to the UK and I'm sure you're aware of what's going on in the UK right now, how they're about to become a Muslim country.
Absolutely.
If they're not already. I mean, you could argue and say that they are.
You could.
I mean, it's a protected status there. Almost like Semites are protected here. And what if they told us that, oh, you're going to pass this legislation, to where you can't criticize us?
Which I think they have in a lot of parts of Europe already.
Oh, yeah. It's coming.
But they're actively working on it here as well.
Yeah.
What's funny to me is that a piece of legislation like that can get passed quicker than something as simple as a photo ID to vote.
Yeah, I know that I'm like, you got to have a photo ID for everything to do anything, and and somehow it's racism because black people don't have photo ID. And I'm like, every black person I've ever met or talked to
They've said it on the news. Well, black people can't go get a license. I'm like, what? What world are we living in?
So,
It's
folks,
so ridiculous.
I want y'all to buckle up here because this is going to get a little uncomfortable because the truth is uncomfortable. Like we talk about conspiracy theories and everybody loves to entertain the fact of, or not the fact, everybody loves to entertain the idea of conspiracy theories because in the end you can say, oh, it's all just not real. It's not real. And so I don't have to be uncomfortable anymore because when I'm learning about it, I'm uncomfortable because I'm like, oh my God, if this is real, like, I can't deal. But the thing is, when you hear the truth, it's not going to be comfortable. It's not convenient.
Oh, no.
It's never going to be convenient, and it's always going to be stranger than something Tom Clancy cooked up or whoever.
Yes.
Anything you want to add on there?
No, I'm you keep going.
I don't want to hijack this thing.
No,
man.
you're good.
But yeah, like one of the bigger things that I've noticed and like. You woke up part of Gen X, not to say that, the boomers and the Gen Xers have not woken up, but as a whole, as a majority whole, they have not. They still, like, if CNN's saying it, that's the gospel. If Fox News is saying it, that's the gospel for the right leaning. That's where they're at on this. And it's like, I don't know, I guess, growing up in the same way that you grew up and then getting the internet forced into us, like the whole Epstein thing, we only know about it because of the internet.
Right. Because
of how accessible that information is. If it was still the 90s, we would have never known. It would have never got to this point.
It was bliss.
It was.
I mean, think about it. In the 90s, I was in high school. You're a little bit younger than me. In the 90s, I was in high school, and I've been obsessed with news, talk media, NPR, like, talk radio. I was the kid that watched Channel 1 when Anderson Cooper was still on there, and I remember the 90s. I remember listening to the war, the Iraq War, Saddam Hussein, George Bush. That's all we got. We got the big news stations, and at that time, a lot of us in the podunk, we didn't even have Fox News. We had 3, 9, and 12.
It was just whatever you had.
Whatever that was spoon fed to us.
And they wasn't as harsh of critics about things as they are now, just to generate TV views. But they weren't scared. They were not scared to show actual footage.
Well, they controlled the narrative. Yeah.
But it kills me now because I'm like, man, you have to dig to find combat footage anymore of things that happen. And I'm like, that's kind of in a day and age that a cell phone is everywhere. That you have troops that are in the freaking trenches, trying so hard not to cuss right now.
I got you.
In the freaking trenches that are making TikToks. Like I was talking to my buddies the other day. I was like, man, this Gen Z in the Army terrifies me because they're going to be like, hold on, I've got to post this TikTok. I'm going to miss my monetization window if I don't get this TikTok posted out, as they're in the trenches fighting a war. And it's like the enemy's like, oh, there's a radio signal. I'll drop ordnance on that.
Right.
Because this is going to be a thing, man. Like it.
And, and we're still so information age, right? Narrative. Let's go back just to Ukraine, Russia. Tons of footage available.
Yes.
On everywhere. If you were in 4chan, if you were on Telegram, you could get some of the most gruesome footage. And not that we search for that, but that war was wide open. Now, everything is super controlled. We're not allowed to see only who's
involved in it, though.
The
intelligence gurus, man.
That's
like
right.
Some of the most. When you think of military intelligence, you don't think of the American CIA, you don't think of MI6 in the UK, you don't think of them. You think of Israeli Mossad.
That's correct.
And I sit here and it baffles me because of these right-leaning people out there that will sit here and tell us of the bad things that the CIA does, the NSA does. They'll talk about chemtrails. They'll talk about all of that. But the second you mention Israel and Mossad, it's like, oh, no. And I'm like, come on, man. We learned it from somewhere. You know, we just didn't wake up and say, hey, we could do this now.
Exactly.
And so that's one of the big things. I'm going to briefly touch on history, and then we're gonna kind of crack this thing open.
All right.
I'm going to talk about a full history real quick, just to get everybody on the same page. This is factual as it happened. I've added some notes in here as to what I think, you know, but basically between Israel, Iran, the U.S., and there's a little bit of Iraq in there too, which a lot of people probably don't know, because anytime we talk about this war, we talk about the war, not a war, right? You know, war's over, by the way.
Quagmire, yeah. It was over in, let's see, how many times the Strait of Hormuz get open and close over the weekend?
I quit counting, man.
Me too.
I'm sitting there like, somebody just needs to
You go back and you look at all I knew when I saw those posts, it's like, the war is over, thank goodness, you know. I'm like, this is not going to age well.
No.
And then 3 hours from then, it's like, it is what it is, but go ahead.
I'm like, somebody needs to give him a Diet Coke and just take his phone for a little while. And listen, I voted for Trump 3 times, 6 including primaries. I will vote for him again tomorrow.
Me too.
I don't want y'all that are so hardcore on the Trump train.
Even if they really had to remove him from the Situation Room because he wanted the nuclear codes, which we haven't covered. But if that's 100% true,
it happened.
I'll still vote for Trump tomorrow.
What was his name? The top general, he come out
Kane,
there,
I believe,
with his head down, and he quietly admitted, he's like, I can't, good conscience just let this slide, but I'm very disappointed, but this happened. It wasn't some kind of leak they're trying to get Trump. No. Yeah. I mean, they said Trump tried to play it off like it was
a joke.
Yeah, joke or a training exercise or something. Like, we need to do a readiness test. And
it gives me the cold chills.
Yeah. So, dipping into this history here, just so y'all know where we lie on it. Every time you talk about this, it's, Iran's 15 minutes away from nukes,
They've been 2 weeks away since about 31 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to...
And before, I don't want to lose your train of thought, but I understand, because we talked about the boomer class, right? And a lot of these people were alive and well in the 70s. I want to make it clear, and I'm not trying to speak for you, but we are not Islamist sympathizers.
No.
The
Quite the opposite from me.
Are very horrible. It's a horrible regime. Love to see the regime fall, right? And there's no question about that. More of a question of, are we going to annihilate an entire country, 95 million people? I'm not on that train. But yes, nothing here has anything to do with sympathizing for the other side, because they both crazy.
Right.
Go ahead.
And the thing is, too, people chalk Muslims up all under one umbrella, and they don't understand that there's different sects.
They are Sunni, Shiites, you name it.
And the biggest overall threats are the Wahhabis. They are the hugely extremists. They are the ones that you see out there, and we're going to dive into how some of those tie into Iran. Okay. And so in the 1950 and 1960, Israel had began its nuclear weapons program. It's in the I had to write this down because I can't remember it. I'm probably going to slaughter it when I pronounce it, but it's Negev Nuclear Research Center. So in 1950, 1960, Israel started developing nukes. They opened up a program. France actually kind of helped them a little bit with it, but they did all this in secret from the U.S.
Correct.
Because this was during a time that the U.S. was trying to control the amount of nuclear weapons being built, because I'm going to play white knight here for the U.S. They were trying to just stop the production of it because they understood how devastating of a weapon it is, and we don't want volatile areas to get their hands on it, because it could go up in a heartbeat if somebody just as it is today. But isn't it quite odd that America's what is it? America's You want to finish that for me? Their oldest ally? What was it? Again, they're America's greatest ally.
Greatest,
you know,
I see. Yes.
was hiding them building the most devastating
Sure.
weapon.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
So let's fast forward a couple years.
And remember the Kennedy.
Yeah.
But anyway, we don't have to go off on that. But go
I
ahead.
know we could almost do a series on this, like maybe push out one every couple weeks or something. So, you know, that was 1950 that started, and it went all the way into 1960. So 1952, you know, this is all early Cold War, post World War II. A lot of things are happening. You know, Israel was formed shortly after World War II.
Right.
And, you know, you had early on in the Cold War, Iran was oil rich, you know, and the West, you know, the UK, Britain at the time controlled a lot of that oil flow out of there.
Right.
And so the, what was he, the Shah?
Yes. What's his name?
I thought I had it here in the notes, but during that time, he opened it up for just basically public trade. Like, instead of just only trading with, you know, the UK, Britain, and the West, he's like, we're going to open it up for everybody, because that meant profit, equity for them, right?
Not the central bank for them.
Right. And we might talk about the central bank, might not. It's
Okay.
going to be dependent on time, man. I'm going to try to keep rolling along here. So, you know, this happened, and it's like the West was like, oh no, this cannot happen, because this is going to provide oil for our, you know, greatest enemy, which is the Soviets, you know, the Soviet Union. And so 1953, a year later, you had Operation Ajax.
Come on.
Yeah. You know, that's a hot one that, you know, a lot of these boomers out here were just children whenever this happened. So, and again, we go back to the textbooks and everything else going on. So you had a U.S. ran coup that was also okayed by Israel on Iran. You know, it's basically where it's the first publicly, I'm going to say publicly, but they claim it's the first successful coup done by the U.S.
Coup, color revolution, whatever you want to call it. Yes.
So they installed a new Shah, which was, I didn't even take down his name here, but his son, you know, is trying to get back in control there.
Not Khomeini. Khomeini's a new one. Yeah. Go ahead.
But it's his son, you know, that we see in the news now trying to get back on there. And so we installed a Western-backed, you know, Western allied, you know, leader there. He built all the cities. It's the classic in the, you know, in the late 60s, 70s, you see Tehran and everything else, and it looks like downtown LA with the skyscrapers and everything. And that's all fine and dandy. That's good. You know, the women had more rights than they do now. That's a great thing. But during this time, you know, Iran and Israel were kind of getting along really good. Like, they were trading. They were actually pretty good allies, you know, with everything going on. You know, oil trade, intelligence sharing, military and economic projects. They were doing a lot of stuff together. It wasn't just the U.S., but people need to understand that the people there seen all of this happen. They seen the revolution, the revolt happen, and then this installation of this person who drastically changed their ways. And whether or not you think it's good, I mean, the problem is, and we'll dip in here, you know, from 53 to 79 is this period that it happened. So a little over 20 years, you know, 25 years. It westernized the country, but they were still authoritarian. So anybody that kind of opposed them, they took them out. You know, like any people that were just kind of against them, it's like the mafia. They took them out and they slept with the fishes.
Right.
You know? And so eventually, you know, the people were catching on that, hey, we got these dictators running it. Like, yeah, some of the things are nice, but anybody that speaks out against them, just like here, if it happened here, everybody here, you know, would go against it. So the people there started associating the U.S., Israel, the West, you know, as these bad people that did this to our country and put these people, like, yeah, the other guy was not great, but he wasn't out here just killing us either.
Sure.
And so we're going to kind of roll into some events that happened from that 53 mark. So beyond 53, when the coup happened, you had 1956, which was the Suez Crisis. Israel invades Egypt, you know, with some European allies, and the U.S. forces Israel to withdraw. So, you know, this is proof that we're not, you know, at the time, we're not really fully jiving with Israel.
Right.
They hid nukes from us. We're not jiving on that. Well, just 3 years later, in 1956, you had the USS Liberty incident.
About to say it. Yep.
You know, in the same. Wait a minute, my bad. 67 was when the USS Liberty incident was, and so basically you had 34 Americans killed, and Israel just said, "Hey, it's an accident."
Yep.
Not even sure if we even got reparations for that.
I
or
don't
any,
think we did.
You know.
It was classified for a long time, and it's still hard for people to believe. But yeah.
And just before that, so in 1960, the U.S. intelligence, strongly suspected Israel's program. They were limiting American inspectors there from checking their nukes and everything else, like checking out their program and everything else. They were kind of limiting them and pushing them away. So trying to paint a picture here that they've not always been our greatest ally. Like, right. I don't know where this fully comes from, this ideology that this is who they are, and so we go a little bit further forward, into 1979, Iran, the people revolt there. They get the Ayatollah Khomeini. It was Khomeini, and it's his son is the one running. Well, who knows who's running it now? I honestly don't know. Right. So you had him. You had a revolution. Like, this was we'll call it a naturally occurring revolution, because it wasn't a communist thing or anything like that. So the people all joined in and decided to overturn. And then the Shah ran back here and whatnot. And so shortly after that, you had the embassy siege that went on. So, all of this is going down. The U.S. is not a really big fan of Iran now, right, with everything going on. And clearly, Israel's not going to be either, because they just lost a really close ally. And so during 1980, 1988, 8 years, you had the Iraq-Iran war.
That's right.
And the U.S. actually did a lot of help with Iraq during this time. And a lot of people, and I know younger people don't even know this, but a lot of older people probably forgot this.
Right.
That
they were fighting the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
So we were allies.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You had, Iraq and Iran were fighting each other, but the Soviets were helping Iran. And we're like, well, they're not going to be communists. Saddam Hussein's a dictator. He's not going to allow communism. But, this scratches that itch of what they did to us.
Right.
Especially with the siege. So, we were helping them out. Well, this kicks off in 1980. We helped them out for 8 years. So 1981, Israel discovers that Iraq, not Iran, Iraq is close to developing nuclear weapons. And so they just willy-nilly decide that, hey, we're going to go in and drop bombs on this area without anybody else's approval. Don't talk to NATO, don't talk to the UN, don't talk to anybody about it. They're just like, they get in their jets and go and drop bombs and destroy it, all while Iraq has a war going on against Iran that the U.S. is fighting. Still, to me, doesn't sound like the U.S.'s greatest ally.
No.
And so when that happened, I want to hit on my notes here. So, like I said, the U.S. was supporting Iraq. The UN passed a resolution condemning Israel because they didn't talk with anybody on it, and Israel developed a policy afterwards saying any hostile state in the region developing nuclear weapons may be preemptively struck.
The nuclear doctrine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Named after the Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin. So, that's their policy going forward from there. Their policy. I don't know what that means for the U.S. or anybody else, but it's very clear that they're going to do whatever they want to do.
It certainly seems
it's been clear. So, tracking forward a little bit more from there, so that happened in 81. In 83, we're tied up in Beirut and Lebanon, because of, oddly, it's crazy because of where we're at today, in the same boat today that they're there fighting, essentially the same war that they were then. Right. Proxy by Iran, Hezbollah, all that, all the same key players. And you had the Beirut bombing on the Marine barracks.
Yeah.
That was the single highest loss of U.S. personnel.
At that time, wasn't it? Yeah, I believe so.
Since World War II.
Yeah.
That many people, as 241 service members killed. And so there's a big debate because they'd gotten out that Israeli Mossad knew that they were planning this, knew that they were going to do it, but decided that, you know what, the U.S. can handle its own. They got their own intelligence. They can figure it out.
So they left us hanging in the wind.
Yeah. And so, you know, that happened. And I just wanted to touch on that. Like, yeah, there's a ton of good history that you all already know about out there with Israel. You know, I'm not even going to touch on the GWAT stuff because it's hit or miss. You know, my biggest issue is they didn't have soldiers there fighting with us, and that you can provide all the intelligence as you want. In the end, you're still just a spook, and I don't know how much, you know, skin you're going to have in the game if you're not willing to let blood with us, you know.
Right.
And
same thing with Iran. Yeah. Same thing with the Gulf War. You know?
Exactly.
Repeatedly over and over again.
And so, and that's, you know, I look at all of this, I look at everything going on, and Sun Tzu, right? You need to know your enemy. You need to know your enemy better than you know your friends. And so that's when I dig into Iran, and I'm like, man, you know, these people there in Iran, they were born to hate us.
Exactly.
But in the end, I'm sitting here looking at it, you know, we were just talking about on TikTok how everybody has these short attention spans, and it's very prevalent here in the U.S. Like our 24/7 news cycles, we barely remember what happened last week. That's because true. We're on to the new. These people that are outside of the U.S., they remember. They tell their children, they tell their grandchildren, they tell their great-grandchildren.
That's right.
And so that's like all they know. The history of the West is how they ruined this country. You know, they installed horrible people. I mean, it would be the same if the UK had came in here, you know, right. overthrew the Trump administration and put the heart, because the UK is left. Even their Conservative Party is left, you know, left of our politics. And they installed somebody that was draconian. You know, it's the same thing. We would not be fans of UK anymore.
Sure.
You know, especially if you were before. It's like, oh, yeah, we got nice buildings now, and, you know, we can drive and do this stuff. But, man, if I say anything bad about them doing weird stuff, you know, I'm going to get X'd.
Right. Sure. I don't know if you saw the recent clip where Rand Paul was question Marco Rubio, but he set up the exact same scenario that we did in Venezuela and tried to get him to answer, would that not be an act of war? And Marco Rubio, boy, he has to dance around that question. And it's not that I'm defending or even mad about this, right? You know, we went in and got a narco-terrorist out. He's in prison, and any day now he's going to spill the beans, right? Again, if that happened to us, you know, what would that be?
Well, I mean, I have no issues with that. Like, it was a clean op. It needed to happen. A lot of people don't know the geopolitics behind it and how China was setting up shop there. That's and it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, Iran's a threat to people, not to us.
Right.
You know, and it's like, and I'm going to talk about it too, but like with the Abraham Accords, it's like the Trump administration in the first term established this and established these allies. It's like, why can't we let them handle it? We already set this in motion. Why do we have to be Team America World Police and go over there and handle this? It's like, why don't we say, hey, we're here if you need help.
Right.
But can you fix this situation?
Well, that's
diplomatically or militarily.
That's the quagmire, right?
Yeah.
What was this supposed to be? Donald Trump was told this would be a quick in and out, 3-4 days tops. We're going to take care of it.
2 months in.
He believed it. Here we are. And it's like, whoa, we're the ones that created this. All right. The Strait of Hormuz was already open. And now it's like under some sort of control where one day they're using the yuan, the next day, you know. And we're to the point now where things have flip-flopped so much, it's like I got to pull back from it. Right. And then, of course, if you criticize it, you get people that come at you and they're like, you weren't alive in the 70s. You don't have any idea about Iran. And I'm like, I understand.
Well, it was good times in the 70s.
It was, yeah. But here's the deal. Again, I've never been scared of Iran. I've never felt like Iran was a threat to us.
Sleeper cell things that we grew up being beaten to our head, but where are they at? You know?
And they could be here, but again, when you're watching videos on Capitol Hill, And what little that we did get out of a Doge program or USAID, and you have these people testifying on the Hill saying, hey, your tax dollars went to fund Hamas and Hezbollah. Like, and people don't even bat an eye here. They want to come at you and me and other people for these conversations. I'm like, your tax dollars are funding these terrorists from your own damn government.
It goes back around the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Care Center. It goes back around to that. They were controlling opposition with it. And it's like, if you don't think this is not, like, these people running these I don't even know what you would call that organization, we'll call it that. They learned it from somewhere.
Right.
You know, and it's happening on a higher level.
Yep.
And that's one of the biggest things I want to dip into here.
And I'm so glad we're recording, because guess what? The minute we start talking about this, we've dropped out. Out. We may still be live, but we just lost a whole lot of frames. But you know what? We're recording it.
Yeah. So it's running.
Yeah, looks like we still have people here with us. I had the delay on, but
I see some of the comments there. So it looks like some people are not happy with what I've been saying.
Well,
it comes with the territory.
Sure. I mean, bottom line is that I'm in America first, right? All the way. You said it as plain as day. We bleed for this nation, right? Donald Trump's the greatest president of my lifetime. Okay, I don't condone Islam or these Alatoyas and all that. What I do know is that we've been in the Middle East and we've been systematically sort of, color revolutionizing all of these nations to the point where the Arab Spring now has the Taliban running Syria, and everybody was on the same page and said, "Man, we need to pull back." Right?
Yeah.
Even Donald Trump.
We've already ceded. We've already ceded that to them, and it kills me. Like, I get told by all these people that are generations ahead, and I'm like, but what about my generation that right out of high school, like a lot of people that I knew went over there, if they didn't die, if they didn't get their legs blown off, like Joey Jones, who I went to high school with, literally knew him, didn't get their legs blown off, or other friends that didn't make it back, or the ones like our that was our principal's son that killed himself, from PTSD from it. It's like, what did they go and suffer for?
Yeah, well,
because
that's
we ceded all of that.
What have we gotten out of the Middle East in the last 30 years? Because when Iran first started, right, and everybody was uneasy. Remember last year, right? I was a little uneasy. I had Josie Cruz come on the show. She reassured me, and I still believe, okay, Venezuela might have been the right move. We went in there and systematically removed it. Can I agree with it and say that if it had happened here in America that it wouldn't be an act of war? Yeah. Absolutely not, right? I would believe that. But we're the world police. We did that.
It's fine that it's war, because I think that we need to show that we do have teeth.
Yes.
But the current situation going on, it looks like a bad joke.
It does. And we went there last year and we annihilated their nuclear program, and everybody was happy, and we all kind of, some of us gritted our teeth and said, really? And we did this. And a year later, what was promised to be a 4-day event, clean sweep, and we're going to completely liberate a country that's been yelling and screaming that they're going to kill us for 30 years.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks. And now here we are 2 months later. And it's like, if you ask a question or you try to rationalize any of this, you automatically become the bad guy.
If you break from the train, you're not MAGA. And I'm like, well, I was always America first. I wasn't always MAGA. I was always America first.
That's what MAGA meant to me to begin with.
Yeah.
But it's kind of transformed, would you say?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's been hijacked and turned into, I don't even know what you would call it, because if it's going to have the likes of Mark Levine and Lindsey Graham in it, I don't want any part of it. I don't want any part of it. I didn't like those people to begin with.
Right.
I watched Lindsey Graham, John McCain, John Kerry, and Obama. I watched them get all teary-eyed back in 2011 about how the Syrian rebels needed our help. They needed our weapons, our guns. They need it because they want to overthrow this bad guy, al-Bashir, al-Assad, or Bashir al-Assad. They wanted to overthrow him and everything, and it's like, okay, they signed off on it. They sent all the ordnance over there, and lo and behold, what did you get 2 months later? You got ISIS.
That's right.
Prancing around with U.S. vehicles, U.S. ordnance, U.S. guns, U.S. gear, killing Christians.
That's right.
That's what you got.
You've got it happening right now in Lebanon, for God's sakes, and that doesn't seem to be able. We don't even seem to be able to stop, to put the guardrails on. And what has been happening this whole time that we've been over in the Middle East, right? We created the 2001, the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center,
Allegedly.
and then all of a sudden, right? Terror. It was instilled in us to hate this other race and this other group, and these people are terrorists. They want to kill us, destroy us, right? A lot of their religion teaches ethos like that. But we've been over there for 30 years plus, I know more. But what has been going on U.S. soil?
Exactly. Well, here's the
Our
thing,
own
too.
color revolution.
You know what people don't realize? Ever since 9/11, every president that has come after has signed that America is still under a state of emergency.
We're still.
To this day.
That is correct. And several state of emergencies,
Yes.
I might add, not just one.
A continuous 25-year state of emergency.
Yep.
Because it enacts all these emergency powers.
Exactly.
And then, I don't even want to dive into it, but the disgusting thing is the FISA Act. And it's like, I'm willing to give up my rights. It's like, no, buddy. I was here in 2007 when we did the Patriot Act.
That's right.
And then Snowden came out. And it's like, say whatever you will, but I don't, we have flock cameras on every street now. I went to Florida and they're everywhere. I don't like this. Like, I want to be able to live my life as a citizen and have the Fourth Amendment protecting me.
Right.
And doing this erodes the Constitution. And in the end, when I pledge allegiance to the Republic, that Republic is, bound by the Constitution.
I agree.
It's insanity, man.
We're in a quagmire, and I don't know where we go from here.
Roll that first video I sent you,
yes.
what Trump said in 2015.
Oh yeah, we can go back a lot. 2015. That's what I'm trying to explain to people. I'm supporting the president, and I all of this stuff where people are telling us you got to pick a side. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm a spectator here. I don't have to stop liking Donald Trump. I don't have to jump out or tear up my MAGA card. I'm here, right, watching this thing unfold. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to sit idle by and just pretend like everything is okay, right? That's not how we keep our president and our government on track. And to these people with these delusions of grandeur that Donald Trump got in that second time, but the deep state just said, it's over. He made it. We better back off. No, they're on it more than anything. It's,
like you were saying, I am a citizen of the United States of America. I care about this country. And you know what? I'm going to call out things that I'm looking down the road. I'm like, hey, this is not good for the country. Me paying over $4 a gallon of gas, and it's like I'm blessed to have a decently paying job where I can barely afford it. But I know that there's single moms and single parents or people that are on one income or a fixed income that are having to kind of shell out where they go. They may not be able to take their kids to a soccer game or something because they can't afford this gas and the groceries now. And I'm like, here we are out in left field doing bidding, and I'm sorry, but for another country.
It's true. While
we're not focused on what's going on at home.
That's right. And don't forget, we'll circle back to the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yes.
But all right, so I'm going to play this, and we'll get it. Let me get it up here where everybody can see it. Where did my window capture go? Oh, I know where it's at. Okay, there it is.
Gotta love computers, man.
I changed one thing on it and then it disappeared. So, let's see. All right, I'll have to load it back up again. So that's
all
fine.
Good.
Goodness gracious.
If we need to roll on, we can roll on.
Yeah, roll on and I'll pull it up.
So, I mean, I signed up for the No New Wars because, like everybody's like, oh, the draft scare and everything else. It's like they're automatically enrolling your children to be drafted. And if the shoe was on the left foot and we had, thank God it didn't happen. We had 5 more years of Biden and this was going on. People that were
They'd
that
be
are
losing their mind.
Yes. But I know
if Kamala Harris had up the enlistment to 43?
Yeah.
People would be losing their minds. And that doesn't mean I'm not trying letting Trump have some leeway and trust him. But again, you put yourself what would you be doing if this were under another administration?
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, we can pull it up now. I got it. Oh, please tell me this doesn't happen again, but let me try one more thing here. Don't disappear. There it is. All right, so we're going to play this. This is the clip you wanted to play.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Scroll up one more.
This should be it, I believe.
That is the Turkey.
Oh, okay.
Is the new Iran. We might get
this
into
one right
that
here?
one. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Here we go.
It's 19 seconds.
Think of it. We've spent $8 trillion in the Middle East, and we're not fixing our roads in this country. How stupid is it? And we're not fixing our highways, our tunnels, our bridges, our hospitals even, our schools even. It's crazy.
Yeah. Agreed. I've seen that clip several times.
I watch it almost every week at least, if not, every other day, because
yeah, it's a head scratcher, man.
That's what I want.
That's what we.
That's what I signed up for.
That's what we voted for.
Oh, YouTube. They got to throw that ad revenue in there.
But that's what we voted for, and I don't think it's a sin. I don't think it's a sin to stop and take a pause and say, "Hey, where's our priorities again?" Right? And I tell people this. We talk about it on the show. I think 2025 was sort of a lost year. Right? No arrests. Everything that we started out with this administration has faltered, right?
Yeah.
DOJ, USAID, everything that we worked hard for up until the very end of the year. Obviously, the Epstein list was a big kind of upset, and something that was not on my bingo card, for Trump to act the way he did about it, right? But we've hit the ground in January. It's already April, and here we are in a war, and no end in sight. And it's like. What happened to America?
Well, everybody keeps telling me the war's over and gas is going to be at $70 a barrel next week. And I'm sitting here I've been told that for 4 weeks now.
Right.
Where's it at?
Well, I think that Donald Trump must be. I think he's trying. I mean, if you look at the situation, how many times have we been trying to come up with a ceasefire and trying to pull ourselves out of this? And then something happens and something else gets blown up, or Lebanon gets, more land gets taken to Lebanon. And it's just like every time we try to stop and say, hey, let's pause this, something else happens.
Well, you have goalposts that are moved. But the thing is this administration, and it's not just on the Trump administration. Anyone going over there, what they don't understand is these people do not like us. They don't want to make a deal with us. Mm-hmm. And by what we have already done, by dropping bombs and doing this, and whatever we continue to do, we are just making more.
You're making generations of terrorists.
More and more of them mad, and it's on an ideological level. Mm-hmm. There is no give up. It's like, I would rather die than make a deal with the devil.
Yeah, think about our lives here. We've got plenty of things to live for, right? You get mad, you go home, you blow off some steam, you grab the Xbox, you're playing, you're doing something else. These people, that becomes the central focus of their entire life.
Yeah.
Is to hate and to kill and to train. They don't have the amenities we do. Why are we doing this to a Middle East that we don't need? Why aren't we letting them live? And then we're focusing on our nation, building up our wealth and building up our middle class, right? Instead, we're completely demolishing it all around us.
And all we're going to do, we're going to open them up and push them into the arms of our adversaries, because as soon as we're done, just like in Afghanistan, China swooped in and pulled all the rare earth materials and everything else there. Yes. That's what's going to happen. They're going to come, China has become experts in nation building. They have built up all of these cities in Africa and South America, because they go in there and get it. But it's hey, we're going to build you roads. No more dirt roads for you that get washed out in a monsoon season. We're going to build you roads. We're going to build you schools. We're going to put you hospitals here now. So you don't have to sit here and take all this aid from, American missionaries and all that. We're going to build you hospitals, and we're going to put people here. It's let us put a couple military bases and airports here just to keep you guys safe.
Right.
They've become experts in that. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to happen. I'm calling it right here, right now. You're probably going to call me in 5 years and say, dude, you were right on that live stream.
Look at it. I mean, look, we all America. Look, who benefits more than anybody from any of these wars? It's one sect. It's the military industrial complex. They're the ones. Even the money that we give to our greatest ally, right, or
So
any
pull
other
that up.
nations, right?
Pull that up
And
right there.
out
How
of
much-
190 countries, I think America supplies money to 171 countries. But where does that money go to?
It goes right out of them.
It
right
circles back around
right
to all of our military companies. So the money is literally almost like laundered, whitewashed, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones that are getting rich off of this.
And you have lobbyists that sit up there, and they're like, they tell all of our congressional people, our congressmen, our senators, and everything else. It's like that's why they're making so much money on the stock market. Because you have these lobbyists in their ear saying, hey, if you send aid to them, they're willing to buy this equipment from us. And it's like you got Dan Crenshaw, buying Raytheon.
Eye Patch McCain.
stock. Yeah. Buying Raytheon stock, buying this. And next thing you know, he takes his net worth from $300,000 to $300 million or whatever. I don't know what his net worth is, but he'll probably have his boys at 6 come talk to me now.
Well, the other part of this is the boogeyman syndrome, right? America, we're the top nation in the entire world. We always have a boogeyman, right? And I go back to things like, and I haven't mentioned this yet, North Korea, for example. I watched this documentary on Donald Trump. I stumbled on it a couple of weeks ago. And it was just because my TV and comes with all the Fire Stick. It comes with all this stuff.
Yes.
And I accidentally click on it, and it's like it's just this documentary about Donald Trump going over there to North Korea.
Which no president had ever done.
No president.
They never gotten respect to do that. And it's like maybe if you give these people a little bit of respect, they'll take you seriously when you ask them for something.
And this documentary was actually kind of made too in a time where it wasn't the most flattering to Donald Trump. But I couldn't stop watching it once I started. This thing was like 2 hours long. I had to work the next day. It was like 3 o'clock, and I just couldn't quit. Watched it from start to finish. It's the entire thing from start to finish. And they never came up with an agreement. But it also kind of showed a Kim Jong-un that was trying to. He's still a dictator. He's still a bad man. The country's still oppressed. But he's trying to get out a little bit more and a little bit more. Now, this is a nation that already has nuclear weapons, ICBMs.
Yeah.
But they were this huge boogeyman, just like Russia was a huge boogeyman. China's been the huge boogeyman, even though we're the ones that created the deals that sent all of our industry over to them. Yeah. And it's like we always have to have this boogeyman. It's like Iran has always been on the back burner. It's like we're going to bring this boogeyman back up. But you go back and people forget about the history of the Middle East. How many countries have we color revolutionized? We were in a 20-year war with Afghanistan, and everybody was sick of this, and even Donald Trump. And now the second presidency, which we expect in America first, right? The boogeyman should be the degradation of our culture, right? Yeah. But guess what? Here we are sucked back into another Middle Eastern war that literally was supposed to last 4 days and was supposed to be just as good as Venezuela. And here we are 2 months later with no end in sight. And it's like people are literally just tuning out now.
Yeah.
They're like, it's open, it's closed, it's on, it's off. It's like nobody's even paying attention to it right now.
And we expended a third of our Tomahawk missile armory.
That's right.
On a country that pales in comparison militarily against us. A third.
And who makes money off the new missiles?
Exactly. But I'm saying the other part that people aren't grasping is this is not even a near peer adversary. China's not as advanced as us, but they have the largest personnel, equipment-wise, boats, the largest navy.
That's right.
And you know what it takes to take out boats and all? It takes Tomahawk missiles. And we had to expend a third on a small army?
Well, and you look at the other aspect of this about Iran, but the oil, right? So when this thing first kicked off, what did the stock market, our futures trading, oil went ballistic. It went crazy.
On a country that's already sanctioned, but granted, it's because, goods cannot come and go from there from our allies.
And what happened? Everybody was like, oh my God, look at the oil. And what did our administration do? And not Trump. What did our administration do? They said, calm down. We don't even get our oil from them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how does that work? oh, well, we'll find out. They just base all this stuff off of futures and blah, blah, blah. So the oil companies just jacked them up.
Yeah. Well, it's a world economy.
Exactly.
Somebody somewhere is having to pay, like, they're having to resource their oil because that's going to drive the price up.
And I don't know how close you're following, but I'm not making this. This is not Bible, but from the information that I get, the Strait of Hormuz has never been closed. Okay, it's closed on the news. It's in this quagmire, but the Strait of Hormuz has been sending tankers in and out. Depends on what country you are and what you've got going on. So, that's the fog of war, obviously, but to the layman person, they're like, it's open, like you can just put a big gate down. No, they have been sending tankers in and out of there to other countries.
It's been moving,
It's been moving, so.
And, I mean, you have a country that has been sanctioned, and, they can't legally trade oil with anybody in an allied state, in a UN state, which is where most of the world economy is. So it's like, odd how they're controlling that.
And we got some bright news today. Donald Trump negotiated, I think it was 8 women. Did you see that? That's a beautiful story. Donald Trump negotiated. They were going to kill these 8.
Oh yeah.
And he negotiated and saved their life. That's a beautiful thing. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
We want more of that.
That's what should have happened in the beginning.
Exactly.
We shouldn't have had to do all this and drop all these bombs.
So what's the end goal?
Yeah.
What do they want to do?
Nobody knows. But real quick, like what you were talking about, how much were we sending Israel before October 7th?
Was it $3 billion?
$3.8 billion dollars with a B. Well, how much are we sending them now?
I have no idea. I have no idea, to be honest with you.
I've got it here in my notes, and 6.2 billion a year.
So it's pretty much doubled.
Yeah. And the thing is, with October 7th, there's a lot of information that's come out, and the response time whenever all that was happening was 6 hours. You mean to tell me one of the most intelligent, military intelligence-wise advanced country that is constantly having to deal with, missile strikes, bombardments, terror attacks, you're telling me that they don't have their shit together enough to repel an attack? It takes them 6 hours to mobilize.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen the documentaries on it. It's pretty astounding. When people say it was Israel's 9/11, I kind of believe it. Right? There's some things. I'm not going to say this Bible. I don't know, but it seems like it's a plausible theory that some things were allowed to happen in order to move directionally.
Both
forward.
Instances,
right?
Right. And in 9/11 and October 7th.
There you go.
Yeah.
And we know this happens.
Well, you look at the dollar amount coming in afterwards, because since then, that's roughly what it is a year, because we're not 3 years beyond this happening quite yet. So,
you hear the chopper?
Yeah,
It's the SWAT team. They're fixing to get us.
Probably. I can tell you right now. I can tell you right now what it is.
We just had a chopper fly over, and it was chattering my teeth. I'm like, oh god, the SWAT team's gonna come down and get us.
Dude, it's not even on here. And this is a good one that tracks all the military stuff.
I'm not surprised.
That's really weird. So the money doubles. I think it was around 18 billion. That's billion with a B. I know I got a southern accent. And, where, like you were saying, where does that money go? Well, we send it to them, and it comes right back to our military industrial complex. And then we send the ordnance and everything out to them.
Just like Ukraine, like Russia.
What's odd, if you want to pull up that where Tucker and Huckabee sit down and they talk about the Middle East.
Is that the second clip?
Yes.
Now, I watched that full thing about the full exchange. All right, Here we go. Let me pull this up where we can get to it. This is the second clip. Here we go.
You've appealed to Genesis 15, says it's Abram, it's pre-Abraham, it's Abram, receives from God the news that his descendants will inherit the land. And you tell me as the theologian if I'm getting this wrong, but from the Euphrates to the Nile. And that would include like basically the entire Middle East.
Christian Zionism. I want to go back because that's where we started.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis.
Yeah.
You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
You've appealed to Genesis. Genesis 15 says it's Abram, it's pre-Abraham, it's Abram.
I'm probably going to get in trouble because Tucker's on the bad list. I watched that entire exchange, the whole thing.
How does he go? I know it's a sidebar. How does he go from being the most loved conservative news talk guy? Like, he is the face of conservative news. How does he go from that to being low IQ?
Well, I don't know, because I'll tell you this. I know that because he's hitting on subjects that people don't want to talk about. And here's the thing. It's almost as if, like, under the Trump administration, not blaming Donald Trump, but we fought so hard to get Donald Trump here, right? And now
he helped.
Yeah.
He helped. Megyn Kelly helped. Like,
sure.
I used to not be able to stand Megyn Kelly. And last year, she was on Triumph. She'd come on after Glenn Beck because I'd listen to Glenn Beck. I can't stomach to listen to him now since this happened.
It's hard.
I can't do it. I just can't. But she's real. Like, she's on this thing where she doesn't have to watch what she says anymore, and she says what she thinks. And I'm like, that's who I need to listen to. And man, she was so pro-Trump because her and Trump have always had a beef ever since the whole thing at the convention. But she was pro him. I'm like, damn, I was wrong about her. And it's like, she was one of the most, like, right there with Levine about Israel, especially with Charlie Kirk. And then after he died, she kind of started going the other way, and she talked about her and Charlie Kirk, how they both were kind of like, we're not pro-war and going, like, we're America first. We're not pro-fighting somebody else's war. You want to do it? Go ahead.
Well, it's crazy the excuses that people make for Charlie Kirk, because I have to admit, I watched a lot of Charlie Kirk, but I never watched his show. I was familiar with TPUSA, but, like, I was never involved. And we were live on air the day that happened. Antonio was. To see all that happen, right? And I had not been paying attention to the last year of Charlie Kirk, it just wasn't on my radar. But you go back and you pay attention to the things he was saying.
He was questioning a lot of things.
He was in Donald Trump's ear. And how the tables have turned, right? And now all these people are trying to convince you that of what he meant by what he said, and it wasn't really this, or this is what Charlie Kirk would feel now. And I'm like, you don't get to make that assumption anymore about Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk's no longer with us. All we have is what he was going on. And heaven help, if Charlie Kirk was alive, I believe he might actually be on the naughty list. I believe he might be excommunicated.
100%.
Yeah, and people are... I can't stand these lists, like, you're either, Alex Jones and Owen Schroyer.
These are the OG MAGA people. The people that are saying that, I'm like, you never listened to them a day in your life. Because if you go back to 2015, 2016, like, these are the OG MAGA people. Like, Tucker has always said that he didn't care for Trump, but after he got in, he's like, I can agree with a lot of his policy. Like, his policy is what I want to see happen. So, I can't hate the guy for it.
Well, I don't know that people are watching the interviews.
No, they're watching Fox News who terminate people that start to ask the wrong questions. They just terminate them.
Sure.
Like, I woke up to that whenever Tucker was gone. I said, no, like, if you can't stand behind your moneymaker, the face of the conservative movement, if you can't stand behind them and keep them, you have a broken news platform.
No,
and
it's like, you're right.
And I was there in 2020 when everybody swore off Fox News. Like, I would check it every day, and they were dropping Facebook followers in the millions.
Yes,
I was
one of them.
Yeah, I was too.
Well, you remember what happened?
Yes.
The Dominion sued $1.2 billion, right?
Yeah.
And I was right out here in the parking lot, and I was so mad. And I made the video. I said, guys, the deal is this is in the contract. They're going to get rid of Tucker. They're going to let him go. And they did. And about a week and a half later, he said, yeah, that was part of it. And I knew it. from that moment on, I unsubscribed from any Fox News, and to this day, I still will not subscribe back to them. I look at their stuff when I see it, but it's like, no, we're not playing that game. I don't care who's in charge. I don't care how conservative you are. You have lost my trust forever.
Yeah,
you know.
And the only one, and it's crazy because he's like, he's Tucker 2.0 is Greg Gutfeld.
Yeah,
you know, he's the only one there that's worthy of a watch, and it's like, man, he's like, I guess his rider is Tucker's former rider or something. I don't know,
right?
You know, and it's
what's the one from Daily Wire? Matt Walsh.
Yeah,
Matt Walsh is being incredible right now.
And it's kind of weird because I'm like, Shapiro's going to get rid of him.
Well,
I mean, it's going to happen.
You know, I've said this too. Shapiro, I gave up on Shapiro like 15 years ago. I could not hardly stand him.
I think he's a closet lib.
But even the clips that I see of the horrendous crap that he says, I don't know. And we talk about Mark Levin, for God's sakes. I gave up on him when I was like in my teens.
I couldn't.
How are these people now accepted as MAGA?
Can you believe? That's all. And I'm like, you know, Alex Jones will get out there sometimes, but it's like, Mark Levine is on 11, mad about something every damn day, and I'm like, bro, how have you not like stroked out yet?
He's calling for nukes, man.
I know. And they want boots on the ground, and I'm like, there's no winning the hearts and minds of people in Iran.
No.
It will not work.
No.
You are not going to.
Why are we not pulled out and said we've got to focus on this nation? It's not, what did they call that? Isolationism? Yeah. Heck no, it's not isolationism. But my God, give me a win, dude. We closed the border. I'm loving it. Yes. But everything else that we've set out to do, whether it's tariffs,
we backed off ICE,
USAID, ICE,
we've changed. We casted out Noam on it because she was being too aggressive, you know, and you got that happening, and then now like the rate, like they're only going after the, what is it? What did they call it? They call it something. I know it's the criminals, but like the worst of the worst,
narco criminals or whatever.
And it's like. They're like now they're having them stand down if like there just happens to be other illegal people there, because that's how it was before. They were out there looking for these people, and it's like, oh, we got a whole house of illegal. It's like, well, we can't just leave them here. They're here illegally.
Well, and we asked this question, Minnesota, right? Home of Tim Walz, the governor, who's still the governor, who didn't get in any trouble, and then we found out all about the Somali fraud, which has largely not been dealt with. And we even had Walls up on the hill lying his butt off, and nothing's happened. And I'm like, I remember, you know, during the Biden administration, we had narco-terrorists taking over entire apartment complexes in Colorado. Why did we go after them first? Why were we up in Minnesota to begin with, unless we wanted this to be some catastrophic failure? You know what I'm saying? It almost, looking back, it's like, wow, why were we doing this? Because the FBI did not bust the Somali fraud. A young kid with his camera did.
And you know what? I listened to him. Who had him on there? Was it It's in the Morning. Who is it for Breitbart now?
The female?
No, the guy in the mornings. God, I know his name. I'm having a brain fart right now. Slater. You know, and he was playing clips of where that guy's going all through California and finding this like Haitian people.
Yes.
You know, Jamaican people that are doing the same thing in California. And now they know who he is and won't even talk to him and call the cops on him.
They're writing legislation called in the Nick Shirley Act, for crying out loud, to stop this.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen anything like it before.
Because
how are you supposed to be a rational thinker, right? Critical conversations. How are you supposed to look at this and just, you know, it goes back to the Obama, like 2 + 2 = 5. It doesn't. You want to make things make sense, right? And we now know, you know, we had the $7,000 checks coming out. I mean, Netanyahu came out and said it. That social media is the new war. We got to pay. But now we've got the same thing happen to the conservative side, who are getting paid to push it. And I feel as a person online, I'm sitting here in the middle like, whoa.
I can't tell you how many people I unfollowed because I'm seeing conservatives just, and it's like as soon as that Truth Social post goes out, it's like immediately these people are like, well, I never could stand Candace Owens. I never could stand Megyn Kelly. And like, if you follow them, you're a loser. Unfollow this page. And I'm like, done. Bye.
Like, whatever happened to just listening to what, you know, were we not supposed to listen to both sides to get, you know, to get some sort of, you know?
Bro, you go and look at my truck on satellite radio. Like I said, in the preface to this, before we even rolled the cameras, I listen to this an unhealthy amount a day.
Me too.
You know, like I have to set up, blackouts on my phone to limit me from social media and everything, because it's just not healthy. I listen to CNN's side. I listen to Fox's side. I listen to both sides because I want to know what both sides are saying, because
that's usually the only way you find truth.
You can start to discern what's bullshit and what's not.
That's right.
And you can kind of get a little crumb of the truth in there. And people just don't understand that.
Let's take Southern Poverty Law Center, for example. It's not that I'm criticizing, obviously. I think it's great that a grand jury has indicted this law firm or whatever. But you see all these people celebrating this, and I'm sitting here going, man, we've been studying Southern Poverty Law Center for 20 years. You could have went back 20 years. This is not something new.
You know the ADL is going to be right there with them.
Well, sure. But none of this is new under the sun. But to other people, and it's like, I can't in my heart, it's not a win to me. Okay, we're gonna break something up, but is it going to be another USAID, or will we just see it for a week and then it just goes back to normal? Or are they going to disband it? These are the same people that put us on terror watch list, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So no, this stuff's been going on, and guess what? The next one that they're going to bust, guess what? It's been going on for as long as anybody can remember.
But
we still have smurfing.
How is that any different from what Netanyahu's doing and paying influencers to promote pro-Israeli, content? I
don't know. I don't know how that's legal.
when you look at it the same way, what they were doing, they're for those of you that don't know, they were paying people in the KKK money to keep this going, all of it, the Proud Boys, everything.
Who's in the KKK, man?
Yeah, it does, in my opinion, it does not exist, because in modern day America, if people come out in those white uniforms, they would be attacked, they would be mauled, they would cease to exist on this earth.
Well, what does that tell you? These groups that have to fight all these isms, right?
Yeah.
Well,
we got to end racism, bro.
They end it, right? We got to end it, but they don't want to end any of this stuff. They've got to keep the illusion alive, so they keep the money rolling in. It's the same thing. I've heard this numerous times when you talk about Republican and Democrat. Well, actually, if the Republicans lost, it would be better for them because we could raise a lot more money. And I'm sitting here going, what?
Yeah.
Is that what you care about, raising money?
Yeah.
You're about to give this away? Southern Poverty Law Center paying these supposedly alt-right people and groups, going all the way back to Charlottesville and before, so they can keep this illusion alive like there's a big bad boogeyman, a race boogeyman. Yeah. And everybody falls for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, it's funny because I forget about racism until the media reminds me that it's out there,
I don't understand it.
I really do.
Yeah.
And, it goes back to, all of this money flows into these influencers, because how much is the ADL, how much is Southern Poverty paying influencers? On both sides.
Sure. Well, you look at APAC Tracker, right?
Yeah.
Look at APAC. Look at all the money that it's spending. Look at the gambling lobby. Spent millions of dollars up here in Northwest Georgia alone to craft push these people out there. People getting elected.
Why is it in Northwest Georgia? Because it's one of the poorest areas. You look at what all the people here, they've done all these studies, and they know what the people here spend on lottery tickets, scratch offs, the legal gambling that's already out there. Right. They know, and they're like, man, we get this sports betting and stuff in here. We're, we're on a gold.
Next thing you know, we got a casino in Las Vegas, Georgia. This is you see it as plain as day.
Well, on a long enough timeline, it's going to happen. They'll probably put it right next to the data center.
Oh God, yes, it's pretty wild, man.
It is, man. It is insane. So, I want to talk. We'll dip into, like we were saying. You were talking about Midnight Hammer. We still live?
Yes. Yeah, we're still there.
I'm gonna wrap this up.
Okay.
We had the number 2 person in the intelligence community, the number 2 person, drop out, Joe Kent, drop some truth bombs, drop some bombs on us, and what do? They automatically, defaming.
Yeah, they accused him of being a leaker, leaking stuff.
Yeah, I never, that would have been it. If he leaked anything, the left-wing media would have blown it out of proportion.
I can agree with that.
And what's crazy about it, a lot of what he said, mainly he said that per what they seen, which again, like people don't understand this. Number 2 in the intelligence community for the U.S., said that Iran did not rebuild their capabilities to have a nuclear weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes out just a few weeks ago that Tulsi Gabbard, the number 1 person, the DNI, the head of all the intelligence agencies, she quietly admitted that, they, per what she was given, per what she has, they do not have that capability, but yet we're over there fighting a war. So I'm sitting here like, if the number 1 and the number 2 people that are the heads of our intelligence, that, and what people don't realize, this is who gives the president their information. The president just doesn't have have people in the know or whatever. They brief the president on what they know. That's how the president comes to know this information.
Right.
So where did this information come from to start this whole quagmire that we're in now?
I think same place it normally comes from when it involves war.
And I look and I dug deep into this, and this is going to bruise some feelings. It's going to hurt some feelings.
Okay.
Who is Jared Kushner?
Jared Kushner is Donald Trump's son-in-law.
Yeah, married to,
is it Ivanka, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They met, I think it was 08 or 09. They dated for about a year, and see, his family's Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
He's big real estate mogul. So
if I'm not mistaken, he's over the rebuilding of Gaza.
Well, he brokered the Abraham Accords too. Mm-hmm. But the thing is I dove into Jared Kushner because even the first time around, I'm like, man, what is this guy that is not a politician? He's done nothing geopolitically,
and he doesn't have an actual
currently
title.
Well, then he was over the whole peace envoy, and he brokered the Abraham Accords, which was all the agreements between Israel, the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. He made some money off that too, but he brokered peace there, and I give it to him for that. But see, he's Jewish, and his family forbid him from seeing Ivanka because she was non-Jewish, so she converted to Judaism. This all took place up until her getting married there. But another thing, I was like, I wonder, and I was going to get you to Google it, but any of you out there, feel free to Google it. What is Jared Kushner's relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu? And so, I pull it up, and it's like, well, he's a very close family friend to the Kushner family. And it's very famously that he allowed Uncle Benjamin, to have his bed to sleep in whenever he stayed the night with the family.
That's true.
There, and they're very, very close friends. And he has a lot of ties to Israeli, different Israeli diplomats and people in high-ranking offices there. He's American. He's not. I don't know if he's dual citizen, probably. But here's the thing: like, current state in this administration, he does not hold any official position.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's true.
But yet he's flying around on Air Force Two with J.D. Vance. He was going with J.D. Vance to Pakistan.
That's right.
For these peace talks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here like, this is a guy that he has direct access to Donald Trump. He has direct access to J.D. Vance, the two highest people in our area. And so I'm sitting here like, that means that Benjamin Netanyahu, by proxy, has direct access to them.
Well, yeah.
And it's even been leaked out that he's brokering these negotiations with Israel and Iran. So Israel's getting their say-so on what this deal is going to be.
Yeah.
With America. And so, like, make no mistake, there's goalpost moving that's going on about this, that, like, we're probably coming to the table saying, hey, we need this, hey, we need that, but we're really going to need this too, and you to give us this.
Right.
And it's something that the Israelis know is never, like, Iran's never going to be able to accomplish that. They're never going to agree to that.
Right. And that's probably by design.
Yeah.
I mean, there is such a thing as called the Greater Israel Project. We played the clip there where, Israel wants to be a superpower, and there's all kinds of talks.
You want to pull up that map?
Yeah, we can. Which map is it?
You can look up the Greater Israel map.
Okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And it falls into, like, what's going on right now with, with everything that happened with them taking over Gaza, and Benjamin Netanyahu promised that they would never settle Gaza. They would never, take over control of Gaza. But, Yet, lo and behold, you have Jewish people settling and setting up there and
Which
controlling
one
it.
is it going to be?
Right.
The one with the red?
Top left, second one over.
That
Yep.
one?
Yeah, that's a little bit better one because the red doesn't show you everywhere like it did.
There we go. Let me pull that up. Okay. Well.
Hit control and then roll your mouse like you're going to scroll up.
It won't let me do it.
Oh, man.
But we can fix that real quick. Hang on. Oh, I can't do that. Let's see if I can.
See if the red's I mean, we can roll with the red one.
Yeah. Let's go back here.
But you had Trump tweeting out
This
that.
is it right here. Yeah.
Yep. You had Trump tweeting out that they would not settle in Gaza, they would not take over Gaza, that they would rebuild Palestine for the Palestinians. Mm-hmm. And yet, lo and behold, they're going against what he come out and said and posted on Truth Social a while back. And then now in Lebanon, you have them. They've
taken more land than Ukraine.
Yeah.
Russia has Ukraine.
Yeah, they're sitting on all this land, and Trump said, "Oh, they're going to give it back," and then they're like, "No, we're not. No, we're going to hang on to this right now."
Right. So this is a real thing. I mean,
Yeah.
this is. Of course, we don't want to get. I don't want to get off into the biblical aspect of it because we could be here all night. But yes, of course, and it seems like that this is it's ongoing and. There's never been peace, and I think the Bible says that there's never going to be peace in Israel. No.
I mean, there can never be.
So why do we keep going back there? I don't know.
Well, because the war machine knows it's a bottomless pit that they can send bombs over there, and they're going to continuously get cash back.
Yeah.
Continuously.
Right. And I don't think it's crazy that I voted for the opposite to happen, and it's just we're back here again, right? So I yearn. I want an end to the war. I want a peaceful end to the war. I want to come back on American soil. I want to strengthen the nation and deal, because, like we said earlier, we are making generations of terrorists.
Yes.
But we have
your
an Islam problem in this country.
Your children, your grandchildren are going to have to deal with this because when these kids over there that lost everybody, I read about one little boy that watched his entire family die, and he's the only one left. Do you think he's going to be pro USA when he grows up?
Well, look at we covered Europe. Yeah. Look at Europe, the great transformation. How did Iran get that away? What is going to happen in America? Because every time I turn around, I keep hearing we got this huge Islam problem, And I'm like, but it just keeps growing here.
That's the only religion that's changed the way I live my life. Like, look at the TSA. Like, we have to get pat down every time we go and fly on a plane.
Sure.
All of this stuff.
Well, I mean, I say this often about like Christianity. To me, Christianity is a great equalizer, right? Jesus, the covenant. Jesus died for our sins. It teaches peace, love, forgiveness, that kind of thing. But you look at Islam, you look at Judaism, and all of these other religions have these other books, and these other books, they teach different things.
Then you look at IDF soldiers tearing down the statue of Jesus in Lebanon and smashing the head with a sledgehammer.
And the reports came out today that Netanyahu fixed that. They've punished the soldiers.
But they lied and said it was AI and didn't happen to begin with.
Of course, they got caught, right? But these books, like teach them it's okay to deceive, it's okay to lie and cheat, especially if you for the means to an end. The Bible doesn't teach that. The Bible teaches to be walking like Jesus. So it's a great equalizer, and we're caught between these religions that are pretty much trying to dominate the universe.
All or nothing.
Here. You know what I'm saying? And that should be a red flag enough for anybody to just take a step back and be like, whoa, But you get off into that subject, and it's very touchy. And
everybody has their own. It's how Christianity's split. It's 50 Shades of Christianity because they break off and branch off and come up with a new one. The only thing I can be most assured of is there's no king but Christ.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to bend my will to a nation that I have no desire to go there for as long as it's ever under the control of the religion that's in there now or the religion that wants to take it over. Like, when maybe Crusades 2.0 happened and the Christians claim rightful ownership, deep down I kind of believe that the Christians are the true Israelites.
Well, the Christians are the ones getting persecuted all over the world.
We don't talk about
We
it.
saw that with the Uyghurs in China.
Yeah.
We're seeing that in these other countries. Lebanon is a Christian nation.
Yes.
And
they set their government up to have a Christian, a Muslim, and a
That's right.
Jewish person in control, so everybody
correct.
gets an equal say.
You're right. And then you want to talk about, well, the southern Lebanon is housing in Iran. They fund these terrorists and all that. But then you come over here and we ignore the fact that our government is still using NGO money to send to these terrorist groups, just like the Southern Poverty Law Center is propping up the very thing that we're trying to destroy. And it's like, what?
Because we have to have boogeymen. We have to keep the
Have
people
to have a
scared.
boogeyman.
You have to be
Fear.
distracted.
Yes. And when you become undistracted and you like, hey, wait a second, I got a question. They're like, shut up, you're rip your MAGA card up. And I'm like, what?
Well, if you're scared to death, it's easier for you to open your wallet and say, okay, here, just take whatever it takes to fix this because I don't want it to happen again. You go home, you find termites in your floorboard. If you have money in your bank account, you're throwing whatever money you can at it to fix it because you don't want your whole house to fall down on top of you.
Look at, and I don't mean to get off into this, and we'll go to comments in a minute, but look at our Georgia legislature. We started out this year, we were going to do away with these taxes. We're going to take the income tax, with property taxes. We got one chain working on one. We got one house working on the other. And by the way, we're gonna fix this stuff. Where did that go? Nowhere.
Like it always
We had
does.
20 bills that could have reined in data center.
And our government,
in this
our
state.
governor wasn't driving any of it for his
No.
final year to say, hey, I can
No.
walk out on a peaceful note to say that I helped get this happen.
No, in fact, they still don't even know what they're going to do with that last bit of legislation, and I'm sure they got something cooking for 214, the one about the QR codes, but we haven't heard anything yet. But my point is they're not taking this seriously. They're laughing at us all the way to the bank. So I'm just looking at it like, well, I'm not going to take it that seriously, and I'm dang sure not going to lose a friendship over somebody or a conversation like this, because that's dangerous territory. We're just cutting people off that are just having a normal conversation, It's come back to bite people in the butt, man.
Well, my thing is, like, I've talked to people that I disagree with, but they help me to see another side of this, another angle that I was not picking up on before. Like, you can ask anybody that worked for me when I was at O'Reilly and a store manager. Like, I would solicit, a response from people that I knew would disagree with me because they helped me to see a side that I'm just missing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can't blame them because they tell me how their optic of this, and I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that. Doesn't mean that I agree with it, but I can see where you're coming from with that.
Sure.
And it's like we've all boiled ourselves down into this echo chamber. Like, I'm not on Truth Social. I go on there and I look at things,
I don't like it.
but I just can't. Like, I'm like, okay, so we're all over here. Like, all we're doing is fighting each other. Like, if you don't believe that there is a Republican Party civil war going on right now, there is.
I agree. It's breaking out everywhere. It's the whole divide and conquer tactic, right? It's on every level. It's all division, and I just want to sit back and look at the truth. I'd say this about the Q community, right? We've been through all of this stuff. If the Q community, right, if Q is right, I've got nothing to lose. I'm already here, and I'm saying, hey, bring it. If Hillary's in Gitmo Bay, more power to us, right? I don't have to participate in it because I'm already to this level. Like,
well, it goes
if you
back
guys
to
are right,
the conspiracy thing. You
Right.
know, like, you can sit here and you can think about it and believe in it. And if you believe in it, it still doesn't hurt you.
Yeah.
In the end, but most people don't truly believe in it because it scares the living daylights out of them.
But I say this about Donald Trump, this administration. I don't have to go anywhere. We're spectators in this, right? We're calling things like we see it. It doesn't mean that I'm right and you're wrong, or that anybody else. It's just like, look at it for what it is. Nobody can deny now that how many months in now, over 2 months in, that we probably shouldn't have done what we done, right?
I literally Monday night, I think it was Monday night, went through my Facebook feed and seen a lot of people that were like, whenever I refrain from making any posts because it just turns into a fight in the comments. Mm-hmm. And all these people that have tried to make every excuse in the world or every justification they can in the world for why we're there, what's going on, like how infuriated they are that the peace talks didn't happen, that nothing happened, and Trump extended the deadline. Mm-hmm. I think it was last night that happened.
Yeah.
It's all starting to blur together.
Yes.
And like, all these people that are finally furious, I'm like, when, you've always said, like, man, I don't know what it is about you, but you always seem ahead of the curve. Like, that's what you always kind of say about me.
I already know where your mind's at.
And it's like, because I'm just sitting here listening to both sides, and I'm like, I can see where this is already going. Like, we're
well, it's funny whenever Donald Trump, I think he's working, he really does want a good ceasefire and just a peaceful deal. But you watch the people when that happens, they're seething because of that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? This is what we want. We want to get back out of there and get back over to business over here. Like, we're there. But you watch the Mark Levins that go crazy, or the Larry Loomers that go absolutely nuts over this stuff. And it's like, what is your end game? Is your end game like blowing up 95 million people? You want to live with that conscience?
It is, because it's like back when COVID was going on, brought to you by Pfizer, brought to you.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Mark Levine show, brought to you by Raytheon.
There you go.
Brought to you by Douglas Defense. Like that. That's what it is. Honestly, that's who's writing the checks to them. They're like, we need this war to go. We need to drop bombs. But the general public, I've tried to tell people, I'm like, there's no way this even gets remotely solved. You cannot win wars from the air. You have to put boots on the ground. And the moment we put boots on the ground, it's 20 years.
Oh, man.
And it's another disaster withdrawal because this president does not have 20 years to see the thing through.
And we go back. What is everybody's defense is, well, you guys weren't mad when Obama, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. Everybody was plenty mad. But here's the deal. And I go back to this. The campaign was no more endless wars. That's what we were. That's the train we were riding.
I don't want my kids dealing with what I dealt with out of high school. How we were sold this whole pro-America. Remember the awesome Navy commercials with the SEALs on the beach and all that? Like, it was cool as shit. But it's now we go back and look at that, and a lot of SEALs that are out there and vocal and everything, they talk about the withdrawal from Afghanistan. And they're like, oh, this was nothing for nothing.
For nothing. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, guys, do you really think that we could have got the Epstein list under Joe Biden? It was as good as dead. Trump was the light that said, hey, we can do this.
If there was anything in the Epstein list that would have implicated Trump, that administration would have dropped it.
I believe that. I also believe that we haven't seen the end of that story, and we will. But it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. But that's for people that's been studying it for so long, right? And the people that are new to this and they think it all has to centers around Trump. I'm like, no. I'm blue in the face saying that, right?
Well, it's like everything else. It'll come out in 20 years.
Yeah,
when we're
just
all
like
too old
Southern
to do anything about it. And we're all going to be too old to do anything about it, and it's going to be like, yeah, we did that. So what? What are you going to go back 20 years?
Bro.
Yeah. All those people are dead. That made this happen. So what are you going to do? There's nobody to get.
Yeah. When you have people like James O'Keefe questioning whether what he's doing is really worth it, I think that would be a pause for people to step back and discern that and be like, wow, James O'Keefe is literally asking you, the viewer, if what he's doing is even worth it. That, to me, sends up huge red
he
flags.
blows this stuff wide open, and like, again, just like Nick Shirley was doing, like, nothing happens. It's like it's out there, and everybody's like, well, I don't, we were just paying all this money in. We don't see where it's going. It's like, well, that's where it's going.
You know what I'd like to see Donald Trump do? The California, and I got family in California. I love, my people. But the idiocracy of that bill, the Nick Shirley bill, I would be like, hey, we're fixing to sanction you, California, if you even come up with something stupid as that. It's just ridiculous.
But they have the biggest economy in the U.S. And it's like you also have the largest deficit in the U.S.
Yeah. I know.
A deficit means you're not making money. Right. It's going the other way.
And the people are moving out of the state. It's becoming a crapshoot.
Well, and that, where do they move to? They move to here in Tennessee. Tennessee's like one of the number one fastest growing states in the United States on population. And then, you have their legislation there passing where these people can't, because they're Democrats coming in and running as Republicans again. It sounds oddly familiar.
Oh, like a rhino, yeah.
Yeah, like Georgia. But they're trying to stop these people from coming here and running for office. I think there should be some type of stop or moratorium where anybody that moves here cannot run for office for 5 years.
Yeah,
like it has to be somebody that has resided in the state with proof for 5 years.
I like that. That would actually fix some things.
Yeah. Oh, it'd fix everything.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's go through some comments. All right. I've had a
Buckle
lot
up
of
for
fun.
this.
All right, let's go on up here. We won't probably read all of them, but we're going to start with Earl Klein. Good to see you. Jade Martin says she's been waiting all day for this. That's wonderful. It's good to have you with us, Jade. I've been waiting all day for this, too. Grace Stoner, good to see you. JJ Lewis, I think he said stud, and he's talking about you.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
Thomas White, good to see you, sir. And Earl Klein says he disagrees. We are more awake than you think, young man. And I think he's talking about the boomer generation. So we do. I agree.
I'm saying overall.
Just overall, yes.
You know.
But yeah, Earl Klein, he's a great one. And his eyes are wide open. So yeah. Leslie Ramirez, great to see you. Say it with your chest. Got to say what you got to say. So Leslie's pretty cool, man. She does a lot of good things in Georgia. So. Kathleen Bloomer, good to see you. I'm on my 4th Facebook account. They keep shutting off my account. She's down in the trenches fighting. So, thank you. She says proud of us, Leslie. Thank you. Kathleen says they targeted gun rights advocates and pro-life advocates.
They're going to target anything that gets traction.
That's right.
Look at how they shut us down with the Second Amendment sanctuary. Mm-hmm. It was hot and everything, and they shut us down.
Yep, absolutely. Lisa Adams, good to see you tonight. Antonio Jones, good to see you, sir. And Kathleen Bloomer says probably how Obama got the idea for Common Core and got the free personal book publishing deals from Common Sense Core publishers. So probably I think that going back
talking
to
about the Pergamon Press and McGraw
Man,
Hill.
It's some nasty stuff on the backside. Carol Streeter, good to see you. Carol says, Tyler needs to do research on how many people sitting in churches have ever seen anyone walk down the aisle and dedicate their life back to God because they knew that had gone back to sinning. So, I'm not exactly sure what she means by that, but yeah, obviously we're Christ is King. So
that's where I'm at, and like I said, I'm not an anti-Semite. I have massive respect for all religions. I mostly care about the ones that have affected my life, in my lifetime. But there's no Christ but King.
And I care about Israel, and I care about him being an ally, and I care about the country. I want the Ukraine war over. I want to see Taiwan strong, a nation, but guess what? The Netanyahu and that whole administration that's wanting to put us into some sort of Revelation style, into the Armageddon. And
the guy's a dictator.
Don't want anything to do it.
Netanyahu has been in control of that country for over 10 years, and it's like, why can't a Christian run that country?
Why not?
Why is it blasphemy to say that? Why? Because I think they would be the best stewards of the artifacts there.
Sure.
They would be just and fair to all religions if a Christian was in charge of Israel.
Sure, I agree. James McCann, good to see you, says the Soviets ain't really our worst enemy. Our worst enemy is our government. They're selling us down the river by putting the immigrants in charge of our government. I don't believe that you should be in our government if you wasn't born in America.
100%. I don't believe you should be in our government if you have dual citizenship to any other country, because I expect you to be America first.
Amen, and I elect you, Tiny, as the next governor of the state of Georgia, sir. Jade Martin. Okay, let's see. Thomas White said it. We didn't cover that. JFK was questioning them and setting rules for them. And, we see what happened.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. Ray Blankenship, good to see you. Thank you. Yeah, we lost it over here when we got in that little segment. And so, yeah, it is. But good. We didn't lose power. We're still here. He says we live in a surveillance state. Couldn't agree more.
100%.
Jeff Conley, you are the rock star, sir, not we. Thank you for everything you do. America first. Ray says Trump can't control Israel, and Israel will continue to bomb Iran regardless of what Trump is trying to do. I mean, it certainly seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you go back, if you took an honest look and you just took everything out but the meat and potatoes and everything from the start and to finish in the last 2 months, and then you see who did what, when, and where.
Well, Harrison Smith did something very close to that, where he showed True Social posts, Israeli action. Mm-hmm. And it was the complete opposite, where Trump was trying to assert dominance and say that he had control and they're not going to do this without his say-so, and they go and do it anyways. Mm-hmm. Why are we not mad about that?
Well, not only that, but to go with that, you have Netanyahu, who's talking into his country and saying exactly what he's doing opposite-wise. But he's saying it in Judaism or whatever, and it doesn't, they don't show that over here, or Hebrew.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you got to watch this stuff to believe it. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
First, I was questioning all this. I'm like, nah, he really didn't say that, did he?
But then you got Jared Kushner, with ties to Uncle Ben. And he's married to Trump's daughter. And I'll save that for the end to give people to ponder on. But I got a hot take at the end for people to just think about.
Yep. Ray said the same thing. Stop watching Fox and they got rid of Tucker. I did,
Yeah.
It's over with. I don't need to go back. Brandon Maddox, good to see you, sir. He says, finding out Rupert Murdoch, owner of Fox News, was such a Trump hater was the nail in the coffin for me with Fox News. There you go. I mean, my God, Fox News. Look at the way the Fox News treated him for the mainstream media. I will not share a CNN article. I will read them and stuff, but I won't share it. I'll find another source. Fox News, I'm just done with them.
I think CNN just robs from everybody else and throws their own opinion.
Do.
They don't do any real...
No.
Like, what Tucker is doing now, you would think that the boomers of all people would be accepting of it because he's practicing real journalism now. It's like he's going to the source. Like, people are criticizing certain people. What did he do? He flew to Russia and sat down with Putin and had a conversation.
And they made a huge deal like he was a traitor.
And he went to Israel and sat down with Netanyahu and asked him the questions. And I'm like, that's freaking journalism. That's the way it used to work.
I think that's part of the uncomfortableness because people like us have been watching this stuff raw for so many years. And now that you see somebody like Tucker Carlson, who was like a Fox News anchor, and he's sitting down having real conversations, I know, and every time you see a Tucker, like I'm almost through the Buckley one. He did one with his brother the other night, and I clicked on it, and I'm watching it. I don't religiously follow Tucker.
It's like if it's somebody that I care about, I'm like,
but they were having great conversations, and I just thought, and I know the clip that they shared. The clip they shared is about Tucker Carlson regretting, Trump, and I don't necessarily agree with that, because I don't regret Donald Trump.
But the dude's allowed to say what he's going to say,
and that's fine. They have a beef going on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that could be squashed tomorrow, right? And that's what I keep telling people not to take this too seriously.
It's like him and Elon Musk had a beef, and they're good
6 months
now.
later, they're good now. So what are these people going to do? They've created these lists. What's going to happen when Alex Jones and Donald Trump, cross each other in the hallway, and they're like, hey, man, no hard feelings, no hard feelings. And then everything's cool again.
Well,
but you spent the last 6 months sitting there going, if you're on this side of the list, you take your MAGA card. I'm like, guys.
And Alex is still pro-Trump.
Of course he is.
He still even admitted, he said, I would vote for him again tomorrow. He's like, but he has the wrong people around him directing him, Jared Kushner, in the wrong direction. I'm sorry, but you have to look at this. This dude has no official title, no official position, and he's flying around dictating stuff when he has ties to Benjamin. That is a security breach.
Yep.
If you are a military person, you understand what I'm talking about. That is an intel security breach.
Yep, there you go. So, remember this, guys, All right, Brandon says, I don't agree. I'm okay with the tariffs because they reshore manufacturing. I don't care that the goods are more expensive in short term. Well, I actually agree with you there because I don't think any of us said that. I was a huge proponent of tariffs, Brandon. And I was crushed when the Supreme Court did not rule in favor of the tariffs. And as you can see today, we're having to repay billions of dollars, which really sucks. And I was all for the tariffs. I'm still for the tariffs.
But we paid that. And the companies are going to get it back, and they're not going to cut their prices back down.
They're not going to cut their prices. We're not going to get a refund, and I'm not blaming Trump for it. Now, I will say that maybe we should have thought it out more because the way that we approached it, right, is obviously they were able to block it. But I would do tariffs in a heartbeat and pay more expensive prices, especially than I would be over in another war, right?
But what's hard to stomach...
I'm all for tariffs.
What's hard to stomach is the price of a tariff because... I don't know about y'all, but I've not figured out a way to get goods to a place without using fuel.
That's right.
And so when the price of fuel goes up, that cost is going to be tacked on along with the tariffs onto the consumer. And you better believe it's not going to be, a small percentage that they're having to pay. Like they're going to lop on an extra 5% when in reality it's only costing them 2% because they're going to have that cushion there in case it spikes up even more.
And that's the thing. Supreme Court blocks tariffs. They're giving the money back. So what do? We just say, just on to the next one. Like, what are we going to do to refocus and say, okay, well, we tried that. It didn't work. What are we going to try next,
And it contributes
So.
to inflation, which is up, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, we're all over here looking at this flustercluck in the Middle East, and I'm like, hey, like, we're not paying attention what's going on here, because
That's right.
the economy is all but falling out. It is stalled. It's a stalled
this
beast,
is
and we're
Trump's
not doing
fault.
anything.
That's the problem. We're not doing anything. We want Trump to be back over here, but Trump keeps getting pulled into other things, and it's like, is this by design? So yeah, I'm all for tariffs, man. Yeah, always agreed. He says, I knew gas would increase with the Iran war, and I didn't like the timing of this war being near the midterms. I have to agree with Brandon. I mean, no, I don't think anybody is really comfortable with any of this going on. But again, you got to remember, guys, Donald Trump is in the White House, but the deep state, they only dug in. All right, I know that's hard for people to understand, but the deep state is more powerful than you can imagine, and that's what we're dealing with here. He's still getting fought every step of the way. So
when his favorite people are Lindsey Graham and Mark Levine, it's time to
Something's
pause
wrong. Yeah.
and like think about that
That's
for a
right.
minute. You need to sit down and think about that we're in an inverted world where Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson are bad people.
Mm-hmm.
You need to just take a second. You need to put the pride aside and go listen to their latest shows and tell me that what is being said about them is true.
Yeah. We'll compare them. I don't know anybody that listened to Mark Levin anyway. I gave up on that sucker when I was in my teens. He was crazy back then. You know, the clips that they share of him and like Ben Shapiro are absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
How can anybody justify?
They are saying worse things, and it's like all this is doing is dividing us more,
That's
which
right.
makes me think, like I was saying, like Shapiro is a closet liberal. He just he studies the conservatives so much because he's against them, but he just plays like he's them to roast his own people because he understands how his own people, how
That's
their
right.
minds work.
He says we've got to keep our heads when all these podcasters go nuts. It takes real discernment these days. I agree. We got artificial intelligence. We got all these AI videos. We've got paid influencers on all sides. Yeah. We've got a controlled narrative. We've also got all of our media companies converging into like one owner.
How is it that FCC regulations do not fall on influencers when you're paid by a certain organization? Like, when you run a political advertisement, it has to say paid for by blah, 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 PAC, whatever. It's like there needs to be, like, I'm not pro big government or anything, but I'm seeing this problem. There needs to be FCC legislation passed where these people somewhere have to disclose where their income's coming from.
Well, of course. That's what, I can't remember that bill, 20 something, the internet thing that we tried to get passed forever and ever and ever, and now it's just a moot point, which probably covered things like this. It was supposed to be make things safer. Of course, we couldn't get it passed.
But, dude, for FCC trade agreement, if I am given a product to test out, I have to disclose that I was given a product and money to test this.
Well, you too. Exactly.
Otherwise, I'm breaking the law.
Yep, absolutely. So, thank you, Brandon. It's Richard Schroeder. Good to see you. Main Tabulator Center revealed in today's SCB meeting. Glad you said that. I was actually watching the live stream as much as I could. I only got about 20 minutes of it, but that will be what I'm watching tonight is the recap. So can't wait to see that. Thank you for being here, Richard. Brandon Mendes, has it been proven true that Netanyahu paid influencers? If so, can someone point me towards a paper trail?
He admitted it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. The specific. There's an actual video of Benjamin Netanyahu in a room full of social media influencers, and I can't remember if it was in January or if it was in December of last year. And he basically laid out the new battle plans, which was social media and TikTok. And sure, Brandon, I can send you the video of that. It's all over the place. You could probably go to Google and type that in. Netanyahu talking to social media influencers, talking about how the social media is the new sword of war, and that basically that's where you take it back. And so there have been receipts posted all over the place about people getting paid, and that also there's receipts on the flip side of this where people like Gunther Eagleman, and I'm not throwing him under the bus, but it's basically people are paying him money to reshare and repost things. So it's rampant. And it happens all over the place. But yes, there was this very easily fact check. You can go to Google, hit me up later. I'll be happy to find some of that and send it to you. So It's pretty crazy, man. It was that whole exchange with him is crazy.
I know.
And I think, like Brandon probably never seen that before, and he's like,
but
what?
you see this guy in Bolton doing that.
Yes.
I don't like it. I'm
No.
sorry. It's not because he's a Jewish.
No,
it's not because he's
it's
Israeli.
anybody.
It's because this dude's been in power there that long, and he's nonchalantly saying we're going to play by bad rules and do this.
He's saying we have to take over social media and we've got to take control of the narrative. He's literally telling you like an MK Ultra Mockingbird proposition, and all of these social media influencers are sitting there like,
they're like, as long as the check's cash, sign me up.
It's crazy, bro. Hey, hit me up. I'll send it to you. Oh yeah, Jade's says ask Google.
Now, I told her because the whole ride home from Florida this past weekend, like she was asking me about a lot of this. I'm like, well, Google this.
Sure.
And she was just like, it's like she was awake all over again. She's like, I cannot believe this.
It's providential, man.
Yeah.
This is God. God's in control here. So, Grace Stoner, good to see you tonight. Jade Martin says these are all facts. You can Google it. Sure, Google it. A lot of times, guys, and I use AI like anybody else, but mainly for sourcing and information. Yeah. But a lot of times, I'll go and use two different AI sources. Like, I'll go to Claude and Grok. That way I can fact check myself and say, okay, yeah, because I'm asking for basic information.
You can ask it to provide the sources of which it got that information, and it will. You just you have to prompt it right.
Right. And he says, hey, I'd rather make a deal with Israel than those shouting death to America and exporting terror.
I wonder if he caught the first part of that. Like, it doesn't sting as hard to me when you understand the history there of what we did to them. I'm not a sympathist for them at all. I said, Sun Tzu, you got to know your enemy. Mm-hmm. But they're always going to be shouting that. And it's like they have had X amount of years now, going on 50 years, to do something to us. And they have not. And don't you think that now would be the time?
Well, I mean, sure. Look, the whole bottom line is, and I'm not disagreeing with it. The state of Israel and the people of Israel, we should care for them just like we care for anybody else. And that's where the conflation comes in. Anytime you're talking about Israel, you automatically get
hands off.
Hands off, right? It's protected, like we said.
You can't criticize
You
them.
cannot criticize them. What we're criticizing is Benjamin Netanyahu as a dictator over this sadistic sort of Judaism. A lot of people in our country. I don't know if people watched the episode of Tucker Carlson with the guy that was Jewish that was on there from the country who used to be the prime minister. If you've never seen that one, you need to go back and watch it. Again, we're not criticizing the country. They are allies, but the history that Tyler's laid out.
And Google this. Google how many reporters they have killed since October 7th.
How many? 173, I think, is something like that.
I mean,
it's been crazy.
Could you imagine if the United States killed one accidentally?
Right. What I would rather do is I would rather go back to our campaign principles and promises and say, hey, America first, Israel, you're our ally. We're not going to let anybody touch you.
We'll give you what you need. Barring our people.
Exactly. And guess what? We're going to fix what's going on here. We got major problems here. And again, it is a fact. The only reason we're in Iran, no matter what pretenses it was, is because we went in for Israel, right? If it wasn't for that, we would not even be over there, and they would still be the nation that hates us and still be the ones that are, So, like it or not, that's just the facts. And here we are 2 months in, right? And Donald Trump was told it was going to be a 4-day event, and it was going to go off like clockwork, and that's not happened. And then we're looking back and saying, why? What is preventing it? So, obviously.
And I look at how hard it is. We didn't even talk about it, like on our Middle Eastern allies that are right there having to deal with this because they're in proximity of Iran. Just like Qatar is like, I'm out, Yeah. And then you have Kuwait's like, we're trying not to be a part of this, but I think they got hit by Iran.
7 countries, I think they went ballistic.
And I'm sitting here like, like we're hurting them and putting their people at risk for another country. And it's like, who makes these decisions? That's one is more important than the others. Because Saudi Arabia and the UAE, they've been right there with us. They've housed a lot of our troops.
We didn't do it for Ukraine, did we?
No. And it's funny how that conflict,
Oh yeah, nobody even remember. They're like, "Where's Ukraine again? What is it?"
But I remember how we were all against it. I'm still against it to this day.
And but remember, if you were against the Ukraine war, that means you were pro-Russia.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same. It's the same psyop here. You know, and it's all divide and conquer, guys. And Brandon, you are not wrong, and nobody's pointing fingers. We're caught in the middle of this quagmire psyop. And that's exactly where they want us. And you can go back to any war, whether it was Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Ukraine. We're always in a divide and conquer state, always fearing a boogeyman, right? But Brandon says, who cares about rights for terrorists? If the Jews shove terrorists or terrorist supporters off their land, so be it. Again, I have no problem with that, right? And if it was that simple, I think we would all be able to understand it, but it's not that simple. And what the things that are going on there are far worse than that, you know? It just is what it is. But still appreciate this. Let's see. There's some people replying back to Brandon. Brandon says, okay, I'll read this. He says, because unlike a lot of people on here, I've been right since Trump came down that golden escalator and didn't lose my head or jump to conclusions like many of our movement. In other words, I trust myself a lot more than the pundits I watch and have better track record than them. You can go back on my Facebook and see where I've stood, and the track record speaks for itself. People may not like me for being right, but I'd rather be right than likable. So more power to you. I don't ever want to claim that I'm certainly not right or wrong here. We're just calling it like we see it. So and I understand this is a touchy subject, so more power to you.
It's a hard thing to navigate, but it's the American way to debate it.
Sure,
you know, like
to
talk about it, and it's like, you don't have to agree with me. I don't want you. I don't want anybody to agree with me. I don't want to always be right. I don't want to be that person.
No, and I don't want to waste anybody's time either. So I always tell people, if you don't like the content, man, just turn me off. Like, it won't hurt my feelings. I don't hold a grudge. Just leave. Like, I'm not worth it, you know. So,
but it challenges people because they are so dug hard into this Judeo-Christian, you know, and they don't lift their heads up and just kind of take a peek and say, you know,
it's hard to see the truth. It's hard to accept, right?
I want to see more brought to the light how there's a genocide against Christians occurring right now, and it's not talked about.
It's not. Absolutely. Brandon says, God didn't for sure make me perfect, but I've been blessed with a strong grounding discernment. As I said, my track record of being right may upset everyone on here. Not upsetting me, and you may hate me. That's ridiculous. Come on now. I don't care because I'm being silent about how right I've been. No, I'm far from perfect, and I do some things terribly, but I have discernment that speaks for itself. I'm glad. I applaud you for being right. So, yes. Let's see here. No one has ever told you that our own thinking could be dangerous.
The old boomer adage right there. I am too old to care.
Where's that? I didn't see that one.
A reply to him.
Oh, okay.
About the dangerous thinking.
Okay. Let's see here.
Right there. You were on. I'm sorry, but I've been blunt all my life and too old to change. Too old to change, too old to care about your opinion.
Jonathan Stout. I left Jonathan out of the tag. Sorry about that, Jonathan. Great to see you, sir. I don't get to see you enough, but I as soon as I hit go on there, I left Jonathan Stout out, and I realized it, but I didn't go back. But
we had some things come up too, so it was a rush to get it out there, anyways.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of skip down here. How will tariffs work when they have to have so much foreign material for these data centers? It's a smoke show. So, yeah, we're going to get off on that. But I agree that the deep state is entrenched 100%. The deep state is entrenched. Look, guys, like I said, don't take any of this too seriously, right? We're just spectators. I don't want anybody to walk away from this conversation thinking that I'm right or that my word is Bible. You need to fact check everything that Tyler and I are talking about.
100%.
Make your own decisions. Always discern, right?
But you need to ask yourself who the deep state is.
Sure.
Like that's we got to stop just saying the deep state, and we got to start figuring out who are the globalists, who are the deep state, who are these key players, because then you have a broader perspective of
That's
what's
right.
truly going on, and you can kind of start anticipating angles, much like you and I have always done.
And could it be possible that Donald Trump, and God help me, could he be compromised in some way? Could his hands be tied behind his back?
At the end, I'm going to tell you my conspiracy theory about it.
Because think about it, when things don't make sense, there's other things at play that we don't know here. Doesn't mean that he's less of a president or less, but
like
my
I said,
God,
I'll vote for him again tomorrow.
If we can agree that the deep state is alive and well, then remember what Schumer said? They got 6 ways from Sunday to get back at you. Don't you think they've been wargaming another Trump presidency? I tell people all the time on the show that the day that Trump got hit in the ear, that's the day when the deep state said, "Oh crap."
You hear that, Jade? If you're still out there listening.
we are not in Kansas anymore. Donald Trump's going to be our president. Go get the box of chocolates. Go get the shoes to shine. Let's start telling him how good his hair looks, how great we love him, and let's dig in here. And that's what I believe is happening right before our very eyes. All right. Jonathan, we cannot open that can of worms tonight on data centers.
That's a whole...
I want to reiterate to everybody that there were 20 bills. There were 20 bills, and the total of 20 bills that happened in the Georgia legislature this legislative session, and zero zilch made it across the finish line. That's what you need to know about data centers. Okay, so we are. Woo, man, this is big.
In there.
All right, so we're fixing to wrap up. I'm going to give you the last word, and. Guys, it's been a blast, and don't ever think that your comments, your ideas are not welcome on this show. This is all we want to do is learn together. I am but a spectator and a political peasant here watching this thing play out. Tomorrow will come or it won't. So, Tyler, let's hear it.
So you mentioned the Trump assassination. Everything changed. Do you agree with that, right? Like after that happened, the assassination attempt, the first one, everything changed.
Every
after that, right?
never Trumper stopped dead in their tracks. The GOP, everybody stopped. It was an inflection point. Yes.
And what's the leftist theory on that? What do they all say about that? They say it's all.
Oh, you're talking about the ketchup packet?
Yeah,
like it wasn't real. It was a hoax. Yeah.
I think it happened. So I'm gonna put it out there. It happened. Okay. The guy, I don't even want to say his name, but the guy who was allegedly did it, I seen what he was operating with and at the distance that he was operating from, and I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't getting multiple shots off. I don't. I look at everything going on, and it's easy to say this time last year, if we thought this was happening, we'd be like, no way we're in a new war. We would be like, that is an inverted reality. Just like if the tweets, novels that Trump has tweeted out, inverted reality. It's, from my perspective, all of last year, whenever he got in office, it seemed like he was rushing. Like he was rushing to get campaign promises done and through. Like he was trying to
hit the ground running.
Yeah, a whole lot at once. And I think that's why we wound up with not a lot happening of it, because it's like, well, there's going to be gridlock here, there, and everywhere, or is theatrics. I think that his life was spared by an entity. The shooter that was shown on TV was not the shooter.
Okay.
But his life was spared. And it scared him. And I think because I watched, they had the big, right after that he come out, the convention and everything, the GOP convention. He was a changed man. He was different after that. Mm-hmm. And I think they got him. I think they flipped him. I really do. I said, I think they came into him and said, we spared you this time. We just took part of your ear. It'll heal. You'll be okay. But you need to understand that we can touch you. We can touch you. So here's what we're going to need to happen. And we're going to give you this much time, but we have timelines that you're going to have to meet. Mm-hmm. And I think he thought Midnight Hammer was the easy way to get him off his back. And they wanted more. And now we're seeing this move to Greater Israel. We have this guy that has no official title in his administration that is out here doing high level stuff with ties to these people that if anybody was going to run an op like that, these people who's been the subject of tonight, they would know how to run an op that way. So I think, yes, 100% he's compromised.
And you know what's good about your theory? Is we've never to this day, had a proper investigation of the Butler shooting.
No.
So guess what?
Open shut.
Technically, any theory at this moment is plausible.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no theory off the table because we never got an investigation. Remember what Trump said? Maybe the Secret Service just having a bad day,
Yeah.
and it's gone. It's erased out of our
There
memory.
were so many failures. Because it was easy to deflect it and say it was a failure of the Biden administration, and they wanted it to happen, and they set it up, and it's like, no, what if it's more than that? What if it's more than that?
I mean, do you remember the videos of the people screaming that this kid was on the roof?
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started. You know what? Guess what? It's a plausible theory because we've never had an investigation on it. So,
And I'm telling you, like, I know what I seen. He changed.
yeah. So, I don't know where we're going. I don't know, what we move forward. If I go back and I look at the first Trump administration, right? 2016 to 2018, we had a Republican stronghold. Everything was good. We were fighting the deep state. 2018, COVID happens, shuts everything down. We lose the end of his presidency. We go into the worst election steal of our life. 4 years of the child sniffer. And now it's like deja vu all over again. We're here again.
There's no keeping it in the midterms. I just don't see it.
I can't see it either.
I told you that New Year's. I told you. I just do not see it. And we are worse off. We're worse off than we were New Year's where I was.
That's my whole point. I'm like, when I'm trying to make sense of this, right? And I'm going, okay, you watch these moves every day. And, of course, it's information overload. But you're like, Trump alone coming out and creating this sort of enemies list, right? At this moment in time, like, what is that supposed to tell you? What is that supposed? Why are we creating these situations where we're allowing social media to be dominated by "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you"? You know?
Well, you're shutting off avenues now for potential candidates to get elected because now if they go on these people's show, they're the bad guy. Oh, they're siding with them. They're wrong. I'm not voting for them.
There you go. And then you bring up somebody like Tucker Carlson, and then it's like you've automatically shut half the people off. And I'm like, hang on, guys. Like, hang on. Let's go back down to earth here, all right? Because it's very possible that within the next month, Tucker Carlson is going to go to the White House, and they're going to sit down, and they're probably going to slap each other or whatever, and then they're going to come out eating a donut.
That's classic Tucker. He's going to let it die off, and he's going to say, all right, I'm sitting down with Trump. It's going to happen. Like, it is going to happen sometime between now and midterms.
Yeah.
Because Tucker's going to see this and he's going to say, we got to do something.
Yeah.
And he's going to sell that idea to Trump. And Trump's going to be like, okay.
Yeah. What do people do when you fight? You get butt hurt. You get in a fight with your brother and you call him an idiot. And then you say something embarrassing. And then 30 minutes later,
when has Trump ever stayed mad at anybody?
There you go.
He is always like, if they apologize, he's like, it's fine.
Yep.
He's I think it's mad too.
Yeah, we're so inundated. So people forget that. And I think it's the fear of we got to jump on a side real quick so that we don't have our butts hanging out the wind. And I'm like, guys, think about this. Go back and look at history. So, I agree with you. At this moment, I don't see us being able to pull the midterms out. And it's going to be
the primary is going to be very telling.
It will be. And if we do lose the midterms, it's going to be all over again, and our hands will definitely be tied. But then, what does the deep state have planned for this country, especially now that we're in this territory like we're talking about, a Greater Israel project? We've still got Russia and we've got China. We're always waiting in the wings with Taiwan. You think about it. If you're China and you're watching all of this play out, and you're watching the U.S. deplete their defense mechanisms. And then they say, "Hey, now's
that they're
the time."
calculating. They're like, "Hey, we have this.
We forget about
this. We
this.
build some more of that, or if we have India come and help us out.
Yeah,
on it, the next largest world population."
I'm just saying, man. This is why I say let's get back to our soil and let's strengthen up here, right? So I hope it happens.
And something underreported is the Virginia, gerrymandering now, where they redrew all of that. Everybody voted for it. And It's like, that's not even being talked about. And I'm like, there is no hope for midterms because that was voted on and it won.
And see, but it was in direct correlation what we did last year in Texas. So it's always a tug of war, guys.
California
we did the same thing in California, did the same thing in Texas.
Florida is probably going to do it next.
Exactly. So
then you're going to get New York possibly doing it.
Yep.
And it's just going to...
It's a clown show.
It's going to become like, okay, we're just going to go ahead and declare ourselves entirely blue and entirely red, and all of our representatives will only be, X or Y coming from here. But it really disturbs me on what's going to happen for Georgia because I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, I'm watching it closely. I really don't know. But we shall see. I mean, it's not like we're passing pro-human legislation that makes things better. So
whoever's money's greener.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I really hope everybody enjoyed the show. Tyler, it was always an absolute pleasure to have you. You're welcome anytime, and it's good to sit down and hear you. So.
I appreciate it, man.
But I appreciate everybody. We're going to keep the meet the candidates going. This Saturday going to be at the Power of Five. We'll be moderating that. I can't wait to be there and meet some of the candidates and put on a good show with all them. And guys, remember this more than anything. I need your prayers. Tyler needs your prayers. Donald Trump, this administration needs your prayers. We need to be praying hard that we overcome these obstacles and get America out of the gutter. That's what we need to be doing. And so we need to be praying hard for our president. We stand behind him. It's nothing about taking sides. We've got to be in earnest prayer that the Lord Jesus will see this thing through and that we don't get more death and destruction and tragedy. That's all. That's all I can say. So that's it, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.
Legislature legalized unverifiable voting in 2000.
Like you said to Trump, but they're getting beauty.
They said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia carry that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign.